How's everyone doing?
I just woke up from a nap, little nappy nap.
Great,
Shitty
brother.
as fuck. But thanks for asking.
Where have where have you been, Shane? I was just wondering about you like an hour ago. I was like, where the hell is Shane?
Well, so hold up. Let me just.
I mean, if
Here's
this
what I want to say.
time and
No,
place,
no, you're fine.
that's
Basically, where I've
interesting.
been is this: big fucking life changes for me. Divorce. I'm moving to Seattle. Um, I've also been going through it. I'm not gonna lie, for all kinds of reasons. Most people wouldn't even begin to understand because the phenomenon. I don't even talk about like some people got to see a video of an experience I had last night. I don't talk about it or post shit anymore because it gets wild and it gets fucking crazy. And then people start doubting my sanity. So um I think Astral, did you see the video I posted? I sent to you in the DM?
Yeah, I
Dude,
saw it. Yeah.
I saw
so
it. I
check this
did
out.
see that.
Here's what I'll tell you. Last night was the first time during an experience. So I'm so sick of this. I always get in a place where I'm like, fuck aliens, fuck ufology, and it pulls me back in. But last night was my second to last night in Yakima Valley before I move, you know, changes.
Hmm.
I'm sitting outside and in front of my face, and maybe I'll post the video, man. Just give me a little bit and I'll post that shit. But anyway, I'm looking straight ahead and I'm just kind of pouting, woe is me, like anybody. Life sucks for all of us, right? Trauma is why they're here for me. So as I'm looking ahead and I see colors, I'll see a blink, but it'll be red. Then a minute, 30 seconds will pass. I'll see a different color, different part of the sky, just one blink, and time's random. And all I could think is, fuck off, man. I don't want to deal with is it human or is it alien right now? I just don't even want to. So I'm sitting pouting, and I'm really pouting. I'm not gonna say crying. That's pretty much what I'm pretty much doing. Just sitting there like, what the fuck is even going on, dude? Midlife crisis kind of bullshit, right? No biggie. Everyone goes through shit.
Right.
And
Yeah.
as I'm sitting there, all of a sudden above me, no fucking shit. I didn't hear anything come in. I didn't hear anything leave. Fucking above me, the first thing my brain goes to is that an F-16? I'm talking low and right above me. But then my brain starts thinking, wait, that's not an F-16. That's really low. So I look up, sound's gone, and there's an orb. So I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm just watching it go across the sky. My phone's in my pocket, and I wasn't going to record shit because I, I tease them up. I tell them, fucking impress me or I ain't pulling my phone out. Same shit, I don't give a fuck. It's Yakima Valley. Orbs and shit happen. It instantly doesn't turn, it comes back, just changes direction instantly. The orb does. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? And I'm still thinking about that sound. My body was shaking. The sound was so much that my entire body shook, like vibrated from the sound. Like it felt like like literally an F-16 was maybe 3 houses above me, but it was a lot lower. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I start recording it. And then I just record this orb, come back, go across. And then later I go back and look at it. I'm like, holy fuck, that's a triangle of orbs. So I think it
Whoa.
was a triangle above me. That was actually above me, and I heard that shit, felt that shit. My actually first thought wasn't like, oh, is that the craft that I felt? I kept thinking, was that our craft? Did someone just fucking elf tech my ass to kill me? Did I know too much? That's all I kept thinking. Did I just get a fucking disease from electromagnetic fucking low frequency waves, which is a thing? I was kind of freaking out about that, so I sent it up to my sources. I was just like, hey, I I'm to the point with the phenomenon in my experience. I don't even bring my phone out. We'll try to record. It happens so frequently, and then like that. But yeah, I don't know what the fuck it was last night. All I know is this. This is the wildest part about it too. I don't even know. Wasn't even going to say this. So after it happened, like I don't know why, but after it fucking happened, I came in and passed out. I was. It felt like I was fucking just elatedly high. My eyes were watering, so I came inside and I passed out. And I actually woke up this morning with a fresh fucking look in my eyes. Like all right, I can do this divorce shit. Let's get this shit done. That's the only reason I'm here today. Man, I was like, and I started thinking, wait, what? Am I so fucking lonely that whenever these fuckers show up, I'm like, man, I'm not that lonely anymore. My friends are back. I don't know what it was, but all I know is this. I felt whatever that sound was through my fucking body. But I didn't go, my brain went immediately to like MK Ultra. Like, oh shit, they're coming for me. I know too much. That's where my brain went.
Wow, you had quite an experience, it sounds like. I would have rather been doing that than being at work today. I'll tell you that much. At least the
Let me have my
phenomenon
guys
part of it.
post it on my other channel because this is have it set to private. I do that a lot now. If I get some shit, I'll just send it out to a couple people because I don't have like I'm so fucked up right now with my life that I don't want to talk about some of the other shit besides the UAP shit and
You
her.
should post it in the chat, bro. Post that video.
Well, I'm
it's
going to, but
interesting
it's on the
too.
wrong channel. I had it on my. I have two. I have
Oh,
my channel, which is what I keep it private. I'll have it. I'll just upload it real quick. I'll have them do that shit, and I'll make sure I put it up in there. But yeah, and it's shitty. It's a cell phone because again, I'm outside. My shit so much. I'm like, fuck off, guys, unless it's something impressive. But I didn't notice the other lights traveling. That's when I was like, because I think I'm even talking like, oh, it's got to be a satellite. Oh, it's God. I'm trying to do prosaic things. Then I go back later. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? That's two other lights in a triangle formation traveling with that light. So I didn't see those though. But the sound spooked me. It actually
Oh.
freaked me out quite a bit because of some of the research and shit like that and the way I felt afterwards. I don't know why. This is what's weird. I don't know if it's because one of the truth I've been struggling with. One of the things is this. So the harassment shit I've got put behind me. I got it all figured out. But now I've been battling with how much of my experience has been people fucking with me now, and then my brain starts gravitating towards, was any of this real? Did I bring this up because I needed friends? And I've literally been battling how much of my experience is real, and I'm sitting outside battling that shit and telling it to fuck off, whatever it was, thinking it was human. And I swear to God, it got my attention. That freaked me out. The sound was right the fuck above me. It didn't come in like a plant near, gets louder. It was just there. And by the time I looked up, the sound was gone and it was just the orb. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I just watch it. And I didn't even bring out my phone because it didn't make sense. My body was tingling, fucking tingling, chills. And I'm like, what was that, man? I was like, okay. And then it shifted back my direction. That's the thing. I don't even know, dude. No idea, but it freaked me out when I came inside. My eyes were watering. I was all giddy, kind of like feeling good, but I don't know if I was feeling good because, man, I've been dealing with some bullshit, and that was kind of a different interaction or different experience. Holy shit, though, man! I passed out, woke up this morning, and just started packing. All that
Did you?
procrastination was behind my ass.
Hey, did you lose any time?
Actually, I don't know. That's a possibility, but I didn't check, and there's only one way to check. If I did, it wasn't much. I've got two
Well, you
videos on
need
my
to start
phone, and I
checking.
don't know where the second video came from. So
Really good
Well,
question to ask.
yeah, I got two videos from the experience, and
what
I don't know
you need
when
to
and
start
where the
checking
other
with.
one came from.
Well, you need to start checking what time it is. If you have an encounter like that, look at the time real quick, and then start observing it again, and then maybe a little while after, look at the time again because you never know when you get abducted. Because they wipe your memory. Sometimes I remembered being abducted a couple times, and I've actually seen aliens right next to me. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Hey, you want to know something
Trevor-
really crazy though? Speaking of, you said abductions, and I'm not gonna go there yet, but what I will say is that I've been talking about dreams. I keep having repetitive dreams, same dream, right? This kind of answered my dream last night. Like I've been pushing off a lot of my stuff the research and stuff that I've been doing just because of life type shit. And I'll be damned, I have a dream that's, I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's got a robe. It's got tentacles coming out from behind the robe, like as hair, like you would see off of,
Oh yeah.
right? So, and it's
Yeah,
pointing
you
in
told me about
frustration,
this.
right? It's pointing in frustration, like I'm not getting something, doing something, and it ends, and it's over and over. Well, last night, I'm not joking. I kept saying "fuck off" when the light would flash, like not dealing with this shit right now. And then that fucking sound right above me, man, and I was like, oh, what was that? And I was kind of perplexed
Jesus, man.
because again, it was so loud. The only place my brain could go was when I was working on a flight line. It was an F-16, X distance away, but the sound was way lower, like that.
It's interesting
body
that there
was
was a
shaking,
sound associated with
vibrating.
it, because sometimes you don't even
Well,
get that.
no, what I'm saying, when I say sound, it could be an infrasound, ultrasound. Like, only reason
Ah,
I was feeling it. I was literally feeling it.
gotcha.
That's the kind of sound. I'm not talking
So it
like,
was more of a sensation than like
yeah,
an
that's
audible.
why I probably should have explained it better. That's why I don't think I heard it approach and go away. Whatever
Oh,
it
okay.
was my body felt it, and I remember it's just
Wow.
Like that
it was
vibrational
loud.
state with
Yes,
astral projection.
loud.
Yeah,
Boom.
wow, that's
Actually, that's it.
wow.
That's it
Oh,
right there.
I never thought of that like that before.
That
That's so
when
funny.
you're hemisync, and all of a sudden it starts going to
Yep,
that.
yep.
My entire body was feeling that shit, but by the time I looked up, there was nothing there. Nothing. It was just that orb, and then that video. Let me take care of uploading it to the other site, so I could post it in here since I already yapped about it. I don't want to be one of those guys.
Real quick, too, I just wanted to recognize a few people since obviously we have a lot of great people that are here with us. I see Heather and Christian and Ray. Rhonda, I haven't seen Rhonda in a while. The beautiful Rhonda, always sharing like really awesome stuff on her timeline, sightings and footage and photos and whatnot. Happy to see you here. And of course, the lovely Hey Ocean is here. Happy to see you too. It's nice. I had kind of a depressing week, up and down, and kind of a tough day today. So like it's really nice to have all you guys here. Honestly, Astral and Old Vet too. Like makes me feel a hell of a lot better.
These are still my favorite days, like remote viewing days. Like I look forward to it all week long. I just wanted to say, Shane, for what you're talking about, like we all know about the pineal gland, we know about the little crystal in there. It's made up out of was it cellulite or whatever, carbon and oxygen. And so the idea is you put pressure on that and it acts like a little transducer, transreceiver, whatever. And
Yep.
but there's also crystals with like within your upper inner ear as well, and you have magnetite in your nose. So the idea that you could be hit with some type of frequency, when you get mad, right, and you're like your head gets all, you get that big red head and steam's coming out of your ears, like you're actually creating a stronger field, bioelectric field. I stole that from B, but you're actually creating a stronger electromagnetic field around yourself. It's not like totally crazy to think that something could hit you with some form of like wavelength or radiation, which then would cause pressure on certain parts of your body. If Screen was here, he'd talk about the God helmet and that type of stuff. But yeah, I
Yep.
did post a video. You're gonna have to listen to it after the space because it is kind of quiet. But I had a very similar thing. This is when I was also missing time as well. I didn't even remember taking the video. And in right after I took this, okay, it was like 4 a.m. I went out for a smoke. I was like, why am I up? And when I went out for a smoke, a helicopter went right over my yard, like at the tops of my trees, fucking like searchlights. And I was like, hi. Just like waved to him. But then when I took a video of that, but then later in the day I checked my phone. I'm like, what are these? And there's like a 15-minute period where I filmed this light, making this very unique, again, humming sound. Like it kind of sounds like metal rattling, but like I'm not sure what it's rattling against, and it changes frequencies as well. So I shared that in the nest for you guys. But I'm happy that you're doing okay, and yeah, I love being here.
We love you too. That was such a great piece of information because there's a book I was reading a few months ago that specifically spoke about a certain meditative practice in which you're able to interact with that crystal in the pineal gland. And like you just literally nailed all of the information that was in that. Also, real quick, and then I'll let Old Vet get to what I'm sure he's got plenty to say after all that. I just popped up on my screen. I see John is here and I see Jared's here. I just wanted to say hi to you guys. Appreciate you being here. And wow, we have like a really, really great group tonight. This is going to be awesome.
Yo, if Shane wasn't hosting spaces when I first got on Twitter, this wouldn't be happening. So shout out right there too.
Definitely.
I remember those days.
All right. So here's what I did. I just went ahead and it's Twitter only. So I went ahead and did a tweet in this thread here. I think I uploaded the fucking video. And then I'll put it in the nest as well too. And yeah, shout out to Shane for, but you know what, man? Don't give a shit. Guess what? Chupacabra got me into spaces. And here's the fucked up thing. One of the things that's important to me, this whole creative outlet, you guys, I think this is super important for experiencers and other people. So we should probably give credit to everybody that takes part in these different things. Doesn't matter where we go. Let's just be here, be kind, be nice, love each other, and realize there's some fucked up shit going on. There's not a lot of places to talk about it. So what do we do about it? We can pine like I've been doing, which I've been pining. Like, I mean, it's funny that I think about it and I talk about it now because how many people do you know that are pining about, losing family, divorce, and then on top of that, fuck you aliens. Like, honestly, like pining about why me? This is the only hurt. There's where else do you go, dude, for shit like that? There's nowhere else that you can talk for shit like that. I mean, you can do YouTubes and stuff. So make sure you retweet the space, give all these co-host speakers a follow. I actually kind of cut my teeth up in these spaces, and I'm kind of trying to find my footing because I'll share this. Someone reached out to me. I'm going to be writing again, on top of my anomalous type stuff. Come after the first one of my new home. Definitely going to be writing again, and you guys all know him. I don't want to talk about it yet so working on stuff there. But yeah, John, I'm glad your mustache is here. I don't give a shit about you being here, but your mustache is always welcome in my spaces.
That's a great mustache, man. Like, if I only had a mustache, I don't think it would look right. So for someone to only have a mustache, but it still looks cool, says a lot about their character, don't you think?
Oh yeah, it does. But I think I posted in the nest. I may not have. I don't know. Somebody else, if you
Sorry, I'm
see
not
it,
trying to
it's up in
flood your
there.
nest. I put 3 things up there. I put the pineal gland activation meditation that I learned from Gaia, just about how to get your spinal fluid flowing, and then the video, and then yeah, that's it. That's all. Sorry.
Flood the nest. Flood it.
Actually, don't thread
That
the.
spinal fluid flowing.
You should flood the thread because after we all say goodbye, the nest is gone, right? So the thread is a better
That is
spot.
true. I screenshot them a lot and pull links from it and save
Good
it.
points, everybody. You know what you should do? Anything that you think's related to this topic, remote viewing, UFOs, UAPs, consciousness, which I think all that's related, put it in this thread. If you had
You
something
really
that's your
want it
favorite
all,
case,
Shane? I'll give it
dude,
to
I
you.
want it all. Because
Everything.
Guess what? Most people don't realize this. These rooms get more active because it's all based on an algorithm with the thread. The more tweets, retweets, and likes that thread gets and stuff in there, more people come in here and realize, holy shit. We had an older woman, I don't know if she's in here. She actually, for the first time, talked about her experience. It was last time I was in a space a while back. Those actually helped me. It makes me realize that's why I came. Where else was I going to go? And she's like, Astral, you remember that? So retweet, add different cases, whatever you think is relevant or your favorite case or anything along those lines. If you've got a video, throw that shit in the thread and just retweet it. Tell people come on in.
I was going to go back, dude,
talk
and
about
look at some of the better submissions over the last like 50 weeks and start posting some of those.
Probably my win.
Have like a little Hall of Fame.
I think that was the best one, my win.
Also, little synchronicity. Well, we'll call it a little synchronicity. But the book that I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, where I learned about that pineal gland information, was I believe it was Becoming Supernatural from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and one of the links that you shared up there, Ocean. Sure enough, that's my guy right there. If you've never listened to anything from Joe Dispenza is the fucking man. Like, he will change the way you feel about yourself and the way that you look at yourself in the mirror. That's a guy I would love to get into one of these spaces one day, or like in an interview. He's helped me. I'll say that personally. Like things that I learned meditation wise and such. Like, there are a few people I can say actually had a huge impact on me in that area. Joe Dispenza has had the biggest impact. Like, I fully co-sign on anything that guy
Doesn't
does.
he go over like living in a fear state and like how we are living in fear states and then how to like get yourself out of the state of fear and like go into a state of creation and like how that works and
Yes.
like how people get trapped in a fear state and ways to get out of that. Yeah, no, it's wild.
It's like I basically learned how to go in, and I'm not like, advanced with it yet, but the whole idea is like to be able to go into a state of meditation with the goal of going in and like rewriting your operating system to function the way that you want it to function. Like it's essentially, you could look at it as like hypnotizing yourself in a way, but you're going in and like accessing the files, for lack of a better term, in your subconscious and deleting the ones that suck and then writing up new ones. It's like, oh, I'm going to type up this little PDF that says tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to be a lot more motivated, or I'm not going to procrastinate as much. It's powerful stuff. I'm telling you. Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza is one of my favorite books of all time. I recommend it to everybody.
Well, does that Joe dude, can he see invisible dimensions?
Well, it depends on the
I don't, because
definition of that, because he does believe he when he talks about meditation and such, he does talk about essentially like a higher dimension, a higher vibration, resonance, being in like a flow state where you're accessing this sweet spot where it's like beyond time and space. You'd have to listen to him because he goes really into depth about it, and I don't want to like chop up
yeah.
and butcher what he says, but essentially, sure, we'll go with that. Like through meditation, I think the answer to that question would be yes, but like specifically third eye activity through meditation.
Well, if the human race doesn't start doing scientific stuff where y'all start to see these things, and we don't move into a science world instead of a religion faith world, I mean, religion has really hold y'all back, because if y'all start doing science, if everybody starts doing all the
Who
scientific
y'all?
methods, we could get out of this trap that we're in, because this earth is a slave planet. And when Lou said that we're kind of in the middle far as civilization goes on the food chain and everything, I'm saying the same thing. And when you're in the middle, dude, all that other shit that religion's talking about, it doesn't apply to us. Okay? Only if you're like +7, +9, something like that. But if you're in the middle like 0, shit, man, that's a terrible place to be at.
Do you guys know about
I think I
Project
get that.
Aquarius, Tom? Do you know what Project Aquarius is?
I've heard of
Talk
it.
about it.
Yeah.
I do. I want to hear
But
you
yeah,
talk
go
about
ahead
it.
and
Tell us about it.
enlighten us.
No, I'm just reading. I'm looking through all my stuff, and I found a post I made back in June. It says, Project Aquarius, can someone smarter than I access these Canadian documents? Because what happens is because I'm in Canada, I can't always access documents. I've noticed sometimes I can access documents that I don't think you guys can. So I don't know. I just was having an issue.
I'm eating. I will gladly talk about shit like
I
that.
put it in the
But
nest.
if you want to brief everybody, like what does it give an overview or summary?
I just put it in the nest there. It's so blah blah blah. So it's like a group of documents. It says file consists of correspondence and essays pertaining to the UFO crashes. Yeah.
Oh, this is not what I was thinking of, actually. Yeah, throw that in the nest because I'm doing like heavy crash retrieval research. And you literally just mentioned something that has not come across my desk yet. So that's exciting as
Yeah, I
fuck.
put it in the
Like,
nest though, but
Here,
like
Tom.
a lot of it is like it's the file, but then I can't actually access the file. I can only see that the file exists. Usually in colleges, like a lot of information,
oh,
like
okay.
the like College of Ontario or whatever.
Calgary. Which one are you looking at? Because one of the schools up in or actually, no shit. I'm going to bring this up right now. Actually, Emily, one of my sources actually mentioned that one of the colleges up there. The one I use is Calgary. I think it's Calgary something, but it has a huge amount of files. But you kind of got to go there.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, there's the Ottawa, and then there's probably one in Calgary. The thing is, it shows that it exists.
Huge collection.
Yeah.
I could probably, if I can get to it here, I could probably go in, I could download the PDFs, and then I can send them to you. I should be able to get in, and if I can't get in, I'll find a way in.
I love that. Share it with everyone.
I will definitely do that. I think I can.
I recommend it highly. If you're doing a crash retrieval deep dive, talk to me or John Lucas. That's for one. But
For sure.
what you can do is this: Magic Eyes Only by Ryan Wood.
That's my book, man. That's the one that that's what I started with. That's actually my starting point.
Cool. So you can get it on Google Play for $9.99. Don't do a John and pay $300 for the original fucking manuscript that's signed by 4 elves and some shit like that. It costs $300 because he did that shit. And I was like, bro, it's $9.99 on Google Play.
$9.99.
So you can grab it there. And then $99 for Leonard Stringfield's UFO Crash Fields Volume 1 through 7.
That's what I'm missing. I have digital versions that I had sent to me by somebody randomly, but I'm missing a few of the volumes, so I'm just gonna buy them.
But what you want is, I've got all the digital versions. I've got a huge ass research library, but I've got all the digital versions. But I'm telling you, the book is worth the $99 just to go through. If you like crash retrievals, like some of us in here love crash retrievals, then you're going to want to go through, highlight, and see different things in there. I recommend both of those for sure. And there's 2 more books. Oh, not just books. You can go to P Research. So PEA Research, right? So if you go Google that, they've got a huge database of where they kind of went through shit like this, different books and things. The Day After Roswell, another very important book, but you want to go with the original manuscript. You don't understand what I mean? Not the one that was changed later.
Did you say PDA Research?
P Research, right? So there's a bunch of different books. They talk about things in there, big deal, whatever. But my point is, you want to definitely get The Day After Roswell.
Yep, have that.
I'm actually going to go, you know what? I'm going to do everybody a big old favor up in this bitch. I'm going to go to the thread. And then there's an hour and 45-minute interview with Colonel Corso about the book that's on Eyes. And I'll post that shit in here. And it's basically him talking about what he says in the book. And the reason I said the original manuscript, stuff was changed. Was it by Burns? Burns, who was changed, and he wasn't too keen on some of that stuff. So I also recommend paying attention to reverse engineered technologies we may have gained, and start thinking to yourself, how long has this been going on? I promise you, 1933 wasn't even probably the first. I in my head, I think it was 1855. Great Falls, Montana was the first. In my fucking head was where we got our very first crash retrieval. I don't know why, but that's just me. What's up, Em?
Hey, did you ever look into, someone just messaged me and reminded me, so the Canadian UAV is the only remotely piloted aircraft system, or RPAS, company to be given approval by Transport Canada for beyond visual line of sight and detect and avoid radar. Have you heard of that? I'm going to put that in the nest. So they actually make something appear on the pilot's radar that is not there. I screenshotted it. There's links as well. But in the screenshot, you can see they write that this is very disturbing for pilots, with a smiley face. That's on their website. Yep.
I have the documents, the Canadian ones. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to throw it up in a drive, make it public, and then share the link.
It's literally like those things that go on the cop cars, and they are sitting on the ground, and they are just like, it's like a manned UAV, but like there's no pilot in there. It's like, I don't know, it's weird tech.
I'm here. I'm just looking for that interview, but if you want,
I just found a good one from Dan, who makes the TikToks that I've just posted. I'll post up top.
I literally love
video.
all of what's happening right now. Like sharing resources and websites and documents and files. Like, this is I'm like,
So
I'm
Dan
so
Warren,
excited.
his first try at remote viewing, I put up top. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he did
Shane,
real
I
good.
was looking for yours. The one that Shane won. It was so in the beginning when we first did the remote viewing, we would determine in the space who had the best one because it was only like 20 people, right, in the very beginning. So we'd be
Right.
like this, and I think NW Curious is here. She was the first one who won the very first week, and I'll never forget that. But it was cool because we would, and so Shane I think was like week 2, and so he was like bragging for like a month, you know.
Bragging rights, love that. Let's see, copy link. All right, so I'm gonna I have what Ocean posted here. This document, these Canadian documents. I grabbed them, threw them on my Google Drive, and I'm gonna post the link in in the thread. If there's any issues, just please somebody let me know, just so I can like fix it. I've actually never tried to do this before. Usually, I have other people share stuff with me from their drive, and I've never actually like done it the other way around for some reason. I don't know how that's not happened, but I just want to make sure everybody has access to it.
I like to make a post of the thing I'm going to share, and then I just share it to the thread, so that way it's saved on my page for like later, because otherwise I'm like, shit, what space was I in when I shared that thing? So the highlights section of your account like works pretty good too for saving stuff, I find.
Yeah, I just started using that. I've actually started bookmarking posts on here now too. It's just because I have a huge repository of notes just all over the place. I'm just trying to stay organized. What I'm going to do, I'm going to post the link as a response to your Project Aquarius post so that everybody can, it's just all in one spot, make it easy.
Bro, you know what I was thinking about today that was funny is like Kirkpatrick from Arrow comes into work and his secretary's like, okay, you've got 17 messages. You've got 4 whistleblowers you got to talk to. There's 16 anomaly reports that happen. You know, like, he's probably got like every day on his desk. He's probably like, oh, fuck, man.
Oh my God. Ah!
And then the website just came out today. So I don't know what people's thoughts are on that.
No, I don't think your drive link is working. I didn't see an air website, sorry.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It says viewers can download though, so I don't know.
Hey Tom, I just tagged you. I gotta find the Colonel Corso video still. So if anybody can find it first, you win the internet. It's on Eyes on Cinema on YouTube, and it'll be Colonel Corso. It's in a personal interview. He's talking about the book. I actually went ahead and posted Leonard Stringfield's interview. He actually has like an hour and 45-minute talk about
Oh,
his book, basically,
nice.
volume 1 through 7. So make sure you check that out. He's the original. And I'll tell you somebody else, Michael Schratt. So I'm such a nerd about this shit. This is no joke. I have the video. I haven't even released it yet. Me and Toby were interviewing Michael Schratt. He's another UFO crash retrieval guy.
Great
and as
guy.
we're talking, I'm behind the camera. I decided to let Toby do his thing because, as you guys can tell, I can talk when I want to talk. And so Toby's doing it. He's interviewing him, and all of a sudden, Michael Schratt says, "Yes, there was a Mrs." Or he goes, "Yes, there was an individual who collected over 1,000 pieces," and he starts giving kind of what she did within the government and as a whistleblower. And I just kind of quietly go, "Mrs. G," and I start giggling, and he looks at me and goes, "You know your shit." And I said, "I'm a geek, man." High five. Oh, dude, it was awesome. And then he starts telling me, he's like, "Yeah, I actually got to go. I talked to Leonard Stringfield's widow, and she let me come and view all his like 60 something. What was it? Damn books of unreleased just stuff, notes and things. He was going through that, and I'm just giddy as hell talking about this stuff. So, yeah, I love crash retrievals, dude. So, Tom, get on that shit. You make some bomb videos. You should be hitting that up.
I appreciate that, man, because I want to do a massive series on crash retrievals. Like really, like you saw. I mean, I want to approach it the same way that I approach the Grays, the same way that I'm going to approach some other things that I'm working on. I just want it to be like something people can enjoy, whether it's for entertainment or research, obviously. So yeah, man, anything helps, and it's greatly appreciated. And I will plaster your fucking face and name all over my video if I have to. Credit where credit is due,
Oh,
sir.
please don't do that. But you
People.
should include Falcon Lake. I don't know if you heard of the Falcon Lake thing. I don't know if it's like
Yep, I do.
propaganda.
Matter of fact, I got an interview for that.
Like, I don't know if it's real or not, but it's on our Canadian website. So I feel like it's kind of just like a face to be like, look, we investigated it. Like, this is our official UFO, and then like not really having to dive deeper into like the now.
Talking about the Canadian Roswell, right?
Falcon Lake, check this out. No, Falcon Lake's actually an AHI. A serious injury was happened at Falcon Lake.
Oh,
There's
wow.
an interview on Eyes on Cinema. You can go find the dude with video and pictures of his belly. I think is what is really fucked up from. Look, I think.
Oh,
Falcon Lake,
yeah.
bear with me, guys. I think Falcon Lake was ours. So hey, welcome, guys. You're joining this space right now, Astral Space. I'm Shane. Old Vest Symposium, crash retrieval. I guess you would say
Nerd.
I wouldn't say expert, nerd, and then mentally ill individual who's just getting by, right? But my point is this: you aren't going to find much more information on stuff like this. That information I can have. Falcon Lake, they talks about this. One of the things that's really important that stands out for me is that his injury. He speaks as if it comes from an exhaust. And I talk about this, 6 months ago? We talked our shitty EV tech that we had. I think we've had that stuff since like shit. I bet you we had some kind of. By the time we had heard about Roswell, we probably already had some kind of tech from retrievals. We've been flying so you have to ask yourselves how many of these craft that we are seeing are ours and theirs. How many crashes are ours and theirs? And that's one of the things that I was kind of working on before life took a giant shit. So yeah, man, I can help you out, Tom. If you guys have questions about crash retrievals, things like that, that's actually one of my fortes because I'm a super nerd on that super shit.
Yeah, you know your stuff when it comes to that, dude. And it's just you're always the first person I think of if it's like if I have a question about any of that or I'm thinking about that, I'm just like, dude, I know Shane's got an answer for sure. You're like the local expert on that, and I'm trying to catch up. You know what I mean? Like I know quite a bit, but I'm hearing and learning a lot that I didn't know about through Stringfield and through Ryan Wood and such. Those materials, and it's staggering how much material there is. It's like you wouldn't even believe it.
That is a huge file that you sent, by the way. That's too big. It's too big. I'm trying to save it.
I don't know.
Hey, you should buy the books. I made the mistake with the crash retrieval on Audible because since where I work in heavy machinery, and I basically just listen to my headphones all day, and that's kind of where I use that time for my UFO stuff. But then I got to volume 4 on Audible, and it's like a 54-minute. It's a very short volume. And I'm like, man, like I'm now, $15.99 or whatever, waste the whole credit on something that's an hour. So I suggest getting the books instead of using the Audible. But it's really interesting. Even just by volume 3, there's a lot of information there. I don't even know how that guy got all that info, but yeah. But hey, by the way, did anyone listen to the Joe Rogan podcast? Apparently, there was a chapter in the Air Force dedicated to UFOs. I had no idea. That kind of blew my mind. I never heard about that.
Okay, there's a what? Okay, slow down. So there's a first. I can tell you. You asked a question about Stringfield, how he got all the sources. I cannot answer all of that. So Stringfield was actually military. He was Air Force. He witnessed I guess you would call it what would they call it back in the day? My grandfather saw one of those. Damn, the old school. Just Nazi Germany and shit like that, guys. What they used to call them. I'm having a brain fart right now. Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters, yeah.
You got. Oh, gee, thanks for the help, Christian. So basically, he saw Foo Fighters, and one of his jobs, I think it was Intel or some shit like that. So he had sources before he got out, and he knew they existed because he saw them. So he spent his time and dedicated, and he was hardcore on this. And if you also like Stringfield, no shit, one of the things that I've been doing, I think I started 3 or 4 days ago, I don't work like everybody else. My life isn't normal. I started listening to actually on Audible, Situation Red. I've got the book, but I wanted to listen to Situation Red by Stringfield, the UFO invasion. Love it. And it always reminds me, like, oh yeah, that's right. I do this because the answers for myself. I don't do this any other reason. So quit bitching. So that's an awesome book. He's
I
really
have
good
that
about
book.
taking witnesses. Dude, check it out because he's good about taking all witnesses seriously. Before, a lot of people did that shit, right?
Yeah, I
But
like
all
that
of his books
attitude.
are excellent.
Yeah, it's the stuff that I do have between that and Magic Eyes Only. It was just like it feels like every page is just like a gold mine, and your shovel just keeps hitting gold. It's just crazy. You're just like, wait, what? In what year? Where was it? It's unbelievable. And the fact that there's that Air Force connection, that you can clearly see the Air Force has been extremely tight-lipped as far as their involvement in this entire situation at this point. The Navy has been a hell of a lot more forthcoming. The Air Force, they what have they done, right? Like publicly since 2017, nothing really. They haven't said or done much of anything in regards to disclosure of any kind. I see. Is that UFO Shane down there? Of course it is.
No, but
All these
NASA's got
like
his hands up, and I agree they haven't, and it's because they have crap and they're trying to hide some shit. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But NASA,
yeah.
Hey, Shane, Tom, Astral, how are you?
What's up, man?
I just want to let you guys know I'm actually calling you from a jail cell here in Cape Canaveral. There is a NASA special holding cell for UFO Twitter people who are very naughty and have very dank memes. So I'm being detained, but someone smuggled in a cell phone in their butt, and here we are. So crash retrievals felt like I needed to dial in here. Two things I think are really cool. Number one, if you're in Pennsylvania, every summer, I want to say the end of July, there is a Kecksburg festival. And if you guys know anything about Kecksburg, right, there is a crash of an object there that it is pretty legitimate. Like NASA had the files. I'm talking about NASA. Somebody had the files, and Leslie Kean sued that federal entity, and they lost the files. And something was definitely recovered, but it's a really cool, even if it's not a UFO, like a look into how like the military handles recovering stuff like that. And the second thing I was going to say that you guys know Engaging the Phenomenon, right? James Iandoli, he's awesome. Love him. He usually does a crash retrieval week every year. And so if you go look in his profile, like if you go search crash retrieval, like he's got really cool resources on crash retrieval stuff.
he does. He's definitely a good one as well. One of the things I'll call it. What's funny, Astro? I was thinking about the other day, as a UFO reporter, right? As like the Ryan Leaf of UFO reporters. Does that make sense? Yeah, you get it, don't you, dude?
That makes way too much sense.
Oh, dude,
He said Ryan Leaf.
My ass just went fucking boom, right? So
Ryan Leaf.
We're talking about crash retrievals. I actually was a UFO reporter for Roswell Daily Record. I'm getting ready to be one for someone else. But one of the things that we actually, my experience, I'm not going to say stumbled upon. We have a crash retrieval legacy whistleblower that's still sitting out there. And he talked about a lot of this stuff and things and gave us information. And this shit's legit. And one of my things is this. Kecksburg? I think that was a takedown. We have teams that take these bitches down. Matter of fact, here's where it gets wild. One of those teams is located where? Hanford. Where's that? 30 minutes away from me, where my experience started. That became obsessed with crash retrievals, became a reporter covering. Yeah, dude. I feel like aliens grabbed me by the testicles and pulled me all the way to here.
Dude, Ryan Graves
that's
said
nuts.
something. Ryan Graves said something about UAPs being seen dogfighting each other. I don't know if it was like a few days ago, which was interesting. I don't know if it's NHIs fighting between each other or us with our UAPs, but that would explain a lot of crash retrievals. I've always wondered if that's how they go down.
We asked Kevin Day about that in the space when he was in.
Yeah.
He said no.
Yeah, we did.
He hadn't seen anything like that.
I think what was being described wasn't necessarily actual dogfighting, but I think it was just the best way to describe some of the motion that was being seen. Not necessarily a full-on dogfight where projectiles were being, sent back and forth, but just the general motion of the craft that was being witnessed. That's how I took it, at least.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
guys. Can I jump in here for a second? I'm new to the channel. Can you guys hear me?
Sure can.
Okay. I'm a longtime native of Pensacola, Florida. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of how our UFO capital status is in Pensacola, Florida, but I have seen some of the dogfighting that you were speaking about, and it's not that projectiles were thrown or anything, but I've seen multiple military units from our Naval Air Base, Eglin Air Base, actually tried to intercept these UFOs in the center of Pensacola Bay. There's hundreds of thousands of people that have seen anomalies all around the Pensacola area in the Gulf of Mexico here, and it's not like it's hidden. It's as clear as day. You see them, and for some reason, there's never a good explanation from the military or anybody as to what's actually going on whenever we see these occurrences.
Is it jets responding? Helicopters? Like
Jets? Jets.
Yeah.
Jets from both directions. I mean, anybody that's familiar with the Panhandle of Florida here, we have several naval air stations. We've got every branch of military within the tri-state area, and it's definitely a response that comes from all of them whenever these things pop up. And I've witnessed at least half a dozen UFOs. I've seen some things out in the Gulf of Mexico that were pretty strange. In the middle of the night, I've done commercial fishing out there, and a lot of the stuff isn't explained, and it never makes it on the news. No one ever really talks about it in general. They just go, "Yeah, I saw some crazy shit the other night when I was out in the boat." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's like there's certain areas of the Gulf of Mexico outside of Pensacola Bay, Destin, Panama City, all across the Gulf Coast here. There is a lot of strange anomalies that happen, and it never makes it to the news, and it's just the locals that talk about it. And we know our locals, we trust them, and we're not about bullshitting around here. We just say, hey, what I saw the other night, that was crazy, and I don't know how to explain it, but it wasn't natural.
It makes me wonder how many sightings have been like off of the coast or in boats compared to on land.
Oh man,
if we were
talk
in
about
boats,
that.
like how many more sightings would happen, like out in the water, like
You guys know about the
UFOs.
Gulf Breeze incident, right? I'm sure a lot of you know about Gulf Breeze. I read a book about that when I was a kid, and then like years and years later, I read this article about how like somebody had bought the dude's house and they found like a model of the UFO, and like I've done some research on that.
He made a model afterwards, right?
It was, so from what I could tell, that was literally just planted in the guy's house to like discredit everything he was talking about.
I believe
Because there were a lot
that.
more people seeing the craft.
I think it was he actually made the fucking model of what he saw and just left it behind so people.
Because they were like, "Oh, that's what he was using to, take the photos."
Freaking out about that shit. What if it's this? What if it's Julia?
But apparently,
is Julia.
They tried to use that against him. They tried to be like, "Oh yeah, well this is the model that he used to fake those UFO photos." But then there were a bunch of other people that I read about that were like, "No, I saw the same thing."
I've seen some crazy ass shit that I cannot explain. I've even stopped on the middle of the Bob Sykes Bridge, which goes between Gulf Breeze, Santa Rosa Sound to Pensacola Beach, and actually came to a complete stop on the top of the bridge. And I was looking east, and my girlfriend was with me at the time. I said, "What in the hell is that sitting on top of that cloud?" And she was like, "Holy shit!"
Wow.
I about got rear-ended by the traffic, but a bunch of
Sitting
other
on
people,
top the cloud,
dude. Like I've looked up all the clouds that could possibly do that, and there is one that yes can mimic it, but the thing is, the cloud is not going to have lights on it and a rotational like on the exterior of it, and
Right.
the lights started turning. I mean, it was just like one light, two light, three light, four light. It went all the way around from our angle, like from the west, looking back to the east. And it was sitting like on top or back behind this cloud, and it was the craziest shit.
What?
And the lights started to go in a 360 motion until it made like a solid band of light, and that thing just like fucked off back to the east and just disappeared.
I just found the book too, the Gulf Breeze Sightings, which was written by Ed Walters and Francis Walters. I just found the book.
Yeah,
I read it
I
when
think
I
they're
was like
coming.
9.
I think they're coming for our weed because we used to be one of the like major pot growing capitals in Florida was Santa Rosa Island. But no, it's technically we have so much like experimentation going on with military technology and everything like that that they're kind of wondering like what the hell are y'all doing down here? But I can't even say that it's not our own military doing these operations in maybe preparation or just future technology.
I was gonna ask you,
Right,
do
right.
you get a sense? Did you get a sense that it was our technology close to what we have, or that it was just so strange that it was otherworldly?
Well, that was just one instance. So it's like
Hmm.
that shit spooked me. But I'd already seen a lot of other stuff over Pensacola Bay. We used to hang out down on the train tracks on the bluffs and stuff as kids, and we have the Pensacola International Airport coming in, so we get used to planes, helicopters, everything, private planes, and I've seen so many anomalies over the bay. Weird spotlighting happening on the water, which a plane's not going to do that unless it's in a nosedive, and it definitely wasn't helicopter because
Right.
you could hear it from miles away, you know. And it's just yeah, there's I've seen some pretty strange shit around Pensacola, Florida. And
Wow.
I've been here for 36 years now. I came here from England in 1987, and and I'm not like a crazy person, but I remember as a child flying in over Pensacola Beach and looking down at the white sand, and I was like, shit, that's snow, just like in England. And then I got off the plane, and then 90 degrees hit me in the face, and I was like, where the fuck did
Oh
I
man.
land?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Here, I got a question for
yeah,
you.
go for it.
Based on the fact that you've seen all these different things, aside from what you've already said, out of all those sightings, was there any one in particular that really stood out amongst the rest as being just like this one takes the cake? Like which one was like the one where you were left with very little doubt that what you were seeing was clearly not something that could have a prosaic explanation?
I would definitely have to say the Bob Sykes Bridge experience. Like, I've traveled that bridge hundreds of thousands of times, and like I've never put on my brakes unless it was traffic in front of me. I locked up the brakes and I was looking to the east, and I was like, "What in the hell is that?"
That's what that reminds me of the sighting I had last year, like near the end of the year. I saw this gold, or excuse me, not gold. It was this like crystalline glass cone object while I was driving the work van, and I mean, I'm in the middle of traffic, and it's just like I had to make like a decision because I was so distracted by what was happening. And I pulled into the parking lot,
Dude,
got
yeah.
out, and got my phone ready, and but it never came back. It was only up there for a few seconds, but it was enough to make me stop. And I even reported it to New Fork and everything, made a post about it, but I didn't capture it though, and it's just that it was disappointing. But I still saw it. There's no question about it. I saw what I saw.
Yeah, well, I mean, my girlfriend at the time, like, she saw it too, and I was like, call your dad because he lived on the island, on Pensacola Beach. And I said, tell him to look to the west, like, looking directly to the middle of Bob Sykes Bridge, and tell him to look that direction and say, like, just like, what do you see? And he's like, there's some strange fucking cloud. And I was like, yep. I was like, do you see anything? He's like, no, not really. And like, no sound or anything. It was just sitting there. And then like
Wow.
the lights started just blinking just a little bit in rotation, and as soon as it made that solid band, it just like went, I mean, I guess back to the east and directly up, and it just disappeared.
Wow.
and I had like
It's
four.
just amazing because it's such a hot spot.
It is. I'm not sure what the hell happens here, but there's another you know a weird thing that happens in the bay. Well, actually, Santa Rosa Sound, we have these what you call like a a freak wave. Like there's no boats or anything that are going through the sound at that point in time, and there's something that creates a current in between the island, almost like a little like tectonic shift or something, and it will create these wakes out of
What?
nowhere.
Really?
Yeah.
And this is has there ever been like a news story that they've run about that? Is
No.
it like a thing that locals know about?
Yeah,
Or
we just look out there and we go, oh, look at it. It's, oh, sorry. Yeah, we just go, look, it's lapping up again. And it just like, it just creates a wake out of nowhere.
because you know what that sounds like. If you put all of this information together and some of the things we've been hearing about uh, the potential that there's these tic tac like objects, and they
I
believe
was just
that
thinking the
they're
Tic Tac,
they're,
bro.
they're the docking thing, right? And how Fravor saw something that was like just under the water surface, like
Yeah, I mean, and we have plenty of stuff underneath the water surface. I mean, we've got sharks, porpoises, all sorts of shit, but they don't cause wake to happen. Even if it's like a big pod of porpoises that are coming through, or a pot of mullet or redfish or anything like that. Like we like okay, so if you're on Pensacola Beach, you say like down at one of the bars, looking back to the north over the sound, like in the evening, like everybody would have their boats parked up, and you could see the boat traffic clear as day between the islands, and these wakes would come through with absolutely no boat involved. We know what to look for mullet because we're all fishermen down here, and we know how the porpoises do their things, and they school up bait and everything. There's none of that that's visible whatsoever, and I'm talking about a glass sound, a glass channel in between the islands, and all of a sudden a wake pops up in the middle of it, and it goes south and north. So it kicks. So there's something that seems to be traveling down the channel, I would guess, or some type of. It looks like tectonic activity. That's what it really looks like. And that's what our
Here's what I
islands were
think it
made
is.
of. It was an Icelandic shift, but we don't have anything that shows up on like the Richter scale with like tectonics down here.
I
So
guess
it's one of those
that
anomalies.
thing. I don't know if you guys caught,
So
but I
hey,
said all I said was that it sounds like maybe there's a base underwater, like, and it just as simple as that. There's some sort of permanent installation.
hear me?
We got a lot of underground shit around here,
That's so weird.
like old
Does
school,
anyone hear me at all?
Yeah, I
underground
can hear
stuff.
you, Shane.
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, because Julia is that motherfucking underground base.
Well, there
I've
you
said
go.
it 17 times.
You're going out a little
Everybody
bit
just
though,
kinda-
Shane.
All right, cool.
You're going out a little bit here and there.
Let me fix it. That's my fault then. Julia is that underground base, and then was it Caroline? You had mentioned clouds. Our tech. I posted a thread up in the nest. BDM Corp has some reverse engineered tech that looks an awful lot like what you're describing. So,
Whoa.
did you hear that
Mm-hmm.
or no?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Got it.
Talking about tech that looks like clouds.
Julia is an underground base that recreates AI driven craft that do whatever it needs it to do, science, whatever, blah blah blah, and maybe that's what Ryan Graves and them, or not Ryan Graves, I should say, Ann Dietrich and all them saw, right?
Well,
I've
haven't
heard
there been
that.
stories of like radar or sonar,
Yeah.
USOs going underwater and like nothing is able to travel like that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Water and
Dude, they were tracking that in the 70s. They were doing
Yeah.
like objects doing like Mach 2, like hundreds of feet
Transmedium
underwater.
travel. But here's the thing. I think that we have transmedium travel. I think humans have transmedium travel. China probably has transmedium travel. United States, I'm pretty sure definitely has it. They're not going to admit to it because I also posted another tweet thread, and I suck at this. I don't know if I'll go back and get it. Was it the circle within a sphere? I found plans for that, and that's a whole Los Alamos, and I think maybe it's MIT, a combination type thing, right? So we've been learning from whatever we're seeing, and circle and the sphere's been around for a minute. All these different crap. So I think a lot of the shit we're seeing nowadays is our tech, and then on top of not just government tech, you got to remember NGOs. You got companies that straight up aren't supposed to flying shit around like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear what Representative Burchett said to me when I had asked him about abduction, and he started talking about what was going on behind me on the screen? I have, an animation that's, the cube and the sphere bit. And it's funny because when he started talking about that, he used the word plasma. And it went by, and I'm like, that's interesting. We weren't talking about that. And it's funny, he would call that plasma. Like, what spurred him to use that word when I was talking to him? It's just God knows what's going on. I think you're making a good point though,
You know what
Shane, that
Burchett said
we're
to me
learning,
when I was
right?
trying to interview him? He was telling me, he's like, you need to respect the restraining order, bro.
Hey guys, I got to jump in real quick. That whole plasma thing. What's weird in Pensacola, there is like over a dozen plasma clinics to where all the junkies line up and they donate plasma every day. And I don't know where the hell that shit's going.
Different kind of plasma, but we get what you're saying. And I used to be a junkie. I
Yeah,
wish I could fly.
so
I wish I could fly, brother. But
yeah,
that different kind of
yeah. So
The
plasma.
it's like
circle is complete.
Yeah, I
the
could promise you this: there'd be a lot more junkies if motherfuckers were out there giving away plasma and flying. We're talking about the different state of matter. I think the fourth state of matter is what it is, right? So that type
I
of
believe
shit.
so.
But we probably shouldn't say junkies. We should probably
okay,
say
okay,
addicts.
okay. Okay,
Don't
you
get me
find it.
wrong. I was
You
a
find it.
straight junkie. I mean, I
Yeah,
shouldn't be
no, no,
alive,
no. I
but
mean, dude,
we shouldn't say that.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been a musician all my
it
life,
fits the
so
description.
I can't really talk shit. So
It's in the past though, Shane. You know what I mean? Like we're all good
that's
now.
good.
Now we're just nuts.
Yeah. So hey, that makes me wonder. So, do you think they're drawn to the damaged brain of addicts and mental health patients, or the
Oh,
trauma, or do you think it's because a lot of damaged individuals, perfectly broken,
Gary Nolan's research, man. Gary Nolan's research on how the brains of experiencers differ
Adrenochrome,
from
like people that
I
go
think
through.
it's just hypersensitivity and how hyper awareness. Like, there's people out there that wander around their whole lives and they don't even look up. Like, they don't even look at the sky at night. They're just like, go to bed, wake up, go to work the next day. It's like, you guys are goddamn crazy. How do you never look up and wonder, like, what the fuck is going on up there? But people are like that. So, but I think it's just a matter of being hyper sensitive. So I think like the whole like trauma like as a kid like can play into being hypersensitive, being like on some type of spectrum can play into it. I think even seeing a UFO that could be so traumatizing and surprising enough that puts you into a state of being hypersensitive. Everything becomes UFO after you see one, right? But I don't think it's necessarily trauma or abuse or addiction, or this it's just like heightened awareness or like sensitivity to your environment, right?
Correct, correct, absolutely. I think it's not hyper awareness. It's just awareness, and you feel like you've seen something before, witnessed something before, been through something before, and you don't want to have to go through it before. So you're just more aware of your surroundings and know that it can possibly happen. And
yeah, that's a good point. And it amazes me too, like just to piggyback off that a lot of times people who have had these genuine UFO sightings, a lot of times you'll find they've had a lot of other types of experiences that go way beyond UFO sightings. Paranormal, poltergeist, even just everything under the sun and then some. Like I'm one of those people that I've had so many different types of weird experiences that it goes across like the entire spectrum, like just from A to Z, and it's just like whoa, why is that? And that's why I always think there's a connection there, and that's why you got to
Mine's
call it a
mine.
phenomenon.
I can tell you why mine is because I'm brain damaged. I can tell you that it's straight up that it's trauma across the board for me. There's no doubt in my mind. Matter of fact, I can almost to a T. The lower I am, the shittier I feel. Like going through life shit right now. I'll survive, but one of my low points. But the tool's able to survive it, right? I do have the tools to survive this, but I can promise you, I can feel the hurt, and then that's when it gets crazy. That's why I recorded that shit last night. And I don't even look up sometimes because it's such a clusterfuck of trying to figure out. Sometimes I don't have the brain power just to be like, all right, was human, is this theirs? Now my brain runs here, knowing some of the things that I know that I haven't quite put out yet in reporter form or in whatever form. My brain doesn't automatically run to, oh man, it's aliens. I actually, the first thing I thought, like I talked about, the thing I saw last night, the sound freaked me out because I actually, first thing I thought was, oh shit, it's our tech. They found me. I know too much. I just got elfed, which is electromagnetic low frequency tech. And they
Mm-hmm.
use that to fuck people up, kill people, give them diseases, things like that, early cancer. That's where my brain went, right? Because I also know that we triangles, that's one of the tech that we do have. So I'm like, oh shit, they found me. What kind of a nut job is it? It wasn't even aliens first thing in my head, but I was like, I don't know what it was. All I know is I went inside and I passed out afterwards. I was kind of freaked out because my whole body, entire body felt whatever that, and I say sound, I'm not saying I heard it.
Frequency.
I'm saying I felt it. What's
It's
that?
frequency. It's
It's right.
and
Yeah,
that's the
Yeah.
thing.
and
It's
it was
like
low.
all life is frequency. Like everything that surrounds us, that is what we think that exists or what we see that exists. It's because of frequency. It's because a frequency holds together, and we see what we see, and we're taught to see what we see. But frequency, like cell phones, for example, or computers, that we think we can just Wi-Fi to anything, and we don't even think about what's in between. It's a frequency. That's all it is, and it can either make us well, happy, or it can make us sick or sad. And that shit is constantly ongoing. And
Speaking of, hey, wait, I gotta interrupt you because you said some cool shit. Caroline, is that what you want me to call you? So check us out. You said frequency.
yeah,
You're right.
and
So
it's
MK
Ollie, by the
Ultra's had
way.
the
I'm dude. I'm kind of like a Tropical Thunder over here, Robert Downey Jr. It's Carolyn Way is my my music project, but my name's actually Ollie. I'm a dude. So
all right, Ollie. You can be a dude and be named whatever the fuck you want, bro. Yeah, you can be named whatever you want. You mentioned frequencies, and I know I posted on my Twitter thread. There's, is it Patriarch? Is this how you say his last name?
Hugh
He's
Hart.
an ex-CIA.
Hugh Hart. He wasn't
Yeah,
the CIA. He was the guy who just
MK Ultra Doc.
yep,
Safari.
Yeah, so he's got his welcome, Matt. So and he's actually got a list of frequencies where he can use to cause different things from elation, being happy, to straight up meltdown.
yep.
And so that's all often when I hear things in the books like Skinwalker Ranch and people felt this specific way. Shit, man. Matt will tell you, we've had the ability, our own government, to do some of this
Well,
crazy shit for a minute.
well,
This is why you should read The Eighth Tower
no.
by John
Like,
Keel.
no,
Put
for
in
real.
your nest there.
Puharich and Edgar Mitchell wrote about direct brain action and direct brain perception. Like, I just posted about this the other day that, there were some documents that were traced back to 1952, and that was the year of the UFO, according to Peter Levenda. He gave a whole workshop on it at Contact in the Desert in 2019. I'll post it to the Jumbotron, and y'all can check it out. But it's important. Puharich was definitely important. The Nine, and if you read Annie Jacobson's, like the Round Table Foundation, like Puharich was central to psychotronics, and even today's the guy that owns, damn it, the hearing aid, Medtronic. Medtronic guy owned Archaeus, and I mentioned that too. So I'll post it to the top.
Yo, just a heads up. I'm going to reveal the target in about 10-15 minutes. So if anybody's here wanting to do the remote viewing and wanted to do it last minute, or is just popping in here, I posted the remote viewing envelope up top, so you can do it. I'm going to reveal it. We can keep the discussion going, and I appreciate everybody coming. Again, this is like the 50th week in a row, so it's kind of crazy.
What you
We
going
have to do something special for the 1 year,
52
Astral.
weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks. Like that's what I wanted. That was the goal when I first started. It was to do it
Dude.
actually for a year, so 2 more weeks, kind of crazy.
2 more. Wait, so it's
We
coming
gotta
up in
hype
2
it up.
weeks? Yeah.
For a year. for doing it a year in a
Oh,
row.
dude. All right. I
You
got some
make me
ideas
feel
flowing.
old. You're making me feel old right now. I'm Twitter old.
I even done these remote. You know what, guys? Do me a favor. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little commercial interruption. Retweet the space. Follow all the co-hosts, hosts, speakers. Right? I've even done this space when I was in pretty intensive PTSD therapy. Right in Boston. I think it was my second or third when we tried to save a cat. Find a fucking dead cat.
Oh God, I was just looking at that, bro. Somebody had a lost cat, so we posted a picture of the cat and it tried to post submissions of what people were getting to find the lost cat.
Hey, Astral, I remember when you started these spaces. You know, that's how long we've been doing this, old vet. Like, just think about August a year ago.
It was last summer.
Yeah,
It was
that
last
was
summer. I
summer of
It was
remember.
love.
basically a
Yeah.
year from now. Yeah, a
Because I
year.
remember Astral saying, like, I'm going to put something together. We're going to figure it out. And I think it was you and Jamie were doing the first one. And it was very much like, okay, it was kind of, we had 3 different ones, I think. But I actually had a question for you about the RV. Like, do you think it's possible if somebody does a remote viewing before like the target is picked, do you think it's possible that, like, because me and B were talking earlier today, do you think it's possible that like there could be human influence on what the target is? So like instead of, say, like if I'm like, all right, I decide this week that next week I'm gonna try to make the target something, like, do you think that there could be human influence, like if someone's wants the target to be something, it will be what they want instead of them guessing the target right? Does that make sense to you?
That,
Like it affecting the machine instead of just picking what the machine actually is?
Kind of.
It makes sense. It like of deciding what the target will be, but I still think that's kind of precognitively. You're trying to precognitively view the target. Thing that people do typically when they're first trying it is they'll post their submission and then they'll look at the other people's submission before the target is revealed. And so a lot of people are like, uh they're affected by somebody's submission. It'd be like, oh, your submission is just like my submission. Well, now they've kind of nullified the whole experiment for them because they've already been affected by the other people's submission, and the target, no matter what it is, probably will not have that much of an effect,
well,
or
Astral,
be as close as somebody else's.
I have
It's like a
to I
tainted
have to
jury pool.
disagree because Ed May, like retrocausality, if you read, like I do have a connection to Ed May, and retrocausality can. There's no boundary between space and time because if somebody's in a skiff and talking about something and goes out of it and creates some entropy in the universe, that information entropy or that Shannon entropy can be detected if it's a major discordant note in the universe. That is Ed May's. It's like you can change a double blind placebo study based on your selection of patients for that study, and Ed May proved that statistically.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
mean, sure, but that's just I'm talking about I'm talking about somebody actually doing the study for the very first time,
Ed
and
May.
the fact that even though that they might look at the target that's revealed, they've already uh, it- nullified their submission because they've looked at other people's targets and have been emotionally connected to that target already.
I
So
guess my question
it's
was,
the
do you think,
way of nullifying your submission from looking at other people's targets when you're just supposed to know what the target is.
It's
yeah,
a
my
jury
question wasn't
jury
that though,
pool.
Astral. It was like, can the human affect the machine, like the actual target itself? Like, can somebody in this room be powerful enough that they actually pick that target by thinking about it, and then they draw it, and then they're like, oh, look, I got the target. Well, it's like, no, your mind actually affected the machine that produced that output. That's what I meant.
I
But
would say
yeah.
if the target is used by like a random number generator and the person thinks that they're using like psychokinesis or PK to have it determine like it if it's selecting one of 4 targets and they select which target it's selecting, over time you could see like if they're selecting the right one. Like you'd have to do it over time, and it would be a test that you could do, but yeah, you could see something like that.
But Pat Price showed whenever he was doing his remote viewing that he could look back in time because he drew something that wasn't even physically there anymore. Like,
But you're talking about the greatest remote viewer of all
of
time, bro.
course.
Like,
Why wouldn't I quote that?
The goat.
Yeah, he was, but he was also he was a spy for Scientology, and probably shouldn't say that, but
that's right. Yeah, I think a lot of people why he thought he was assassinated actually thought he was by the Russians, but a lot of people thought it was actually Scientology because he was ciphering information over there, which is kind of messed up but crazy. Third party, what's up?
Oh, yeah, I had a question. I've been recently following your remote viewing submissions recently. I didn't know you were doing it for obviously. One thing I was curious about is if there's somebody who's been, you know, being successful with you at all on this, and have they done it consistently more than once? And do you follow up with that person? And then also, does it help at all if it's like a live, kind of scenario speaking with you, trying to feel you out, to know what you put in there, or if they knew the coordinates of where the envelope is located. I don't know if that helps at all. I just wondered if you've ever added any of those aspects into it. But that was really my question.
No, it's a good question. And really, when remote viewing got started, there was an interviewer along with the remote viewer. So there would be a person that would be tasking target, but also kind of walking the person who is trying to view the target and kind of guiding them along to get the information. This is just really more of a platform to give people the opportunity to try it or to do it multiple times. I don't really follow up with anybody other than just really finding out what people's methods are that may provide some insight to other people who are trying it for the first time to try and help them out. Um, and that's honestly one of the things that I'd like to develop is like an app or a judging or some way to be able to easily like keep track of people who are like consistently doing this and be able to, like it's like a batting average over time. If you were able to like keep your batting average,
Yeah, that would
like
be
compare it.
interesting to see.
Yeah.
Like who's getting it right, or how consistently, and just
There are
just
people
getting
who
more
are doing
data
that
and
like
others.
on their own. Yeah.
Okay, well that's really cool. Yeah, that was my question. Love you guys. Most of y'all and follow y'all, so appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.
Cool. I'm gonna reel the target in just a couple minutes. So if anybody wants to send in their last minute submissions, go ahead and we can keep the discussion going. I thought it was great, man. You guys are killing it. So I'll kick it back to Tom and Shane.
I'm curious, how many non-appropriate submissions do you get still?
I don't get as many dick pics as I got right in the beginning of like.
You.
It used
What
to
about
be
alien
like
dick
once a
pics?
week, but now it's has
guy.
Non-human dick pic.
Non-human dick pics, man. It's like it's a tri-dick. It could be a quad
Dude,
dick, octo dick. I mean, you never fucking
this
know.
is some like after dark hentai type stuff that you're talking about, but we should probably be respectful for some of the other
The people like comics. What? Okay. So no octo penises. We'll refrain from that.
Undisclosed dong.
Undisclosed octo dongs.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Well, that brings me. Hey, actually, since you guys brought up NHI dongs, that brings me to a very important question: are they hybrids? Are they here taking our fucking DNA?
My God.
What's going on? Right. See, that's a good segue from the perversion to the real.
No, the government's raping us enough already. We don't need aliens to come down here and do it. So
I can tell you this.
they can slap their octo dick all over the place. It's not going to matter,
Kill a lot of people. Hell, you've got Dolce, right? All these places, people talking about hybridization programs, and you've
Oh, big
got to
time.
be you're kidding yourself if you think that if there's a crash, our government would only try to reverse engineer some kind of tech. They wouldn't do biology. I can promise you very
Oh
much
man,
they would fucking do biology.
they would do everything that they could within their
Yeah.
power. And dude, if they're
Yes.
funneling trillions of dollars, and the Pentagon can't even like pass a fucking audit ever. Like, what do you think they're doing with that money, dude? They've probably done things that we would probably find terrifying, and some things we would probably even laugh at too. Like, you tried to turn what into what?
Oh, it would
You know what I
it
mean?
would
You know
piss
what's
PETA
funny
off.
about the audit
It would piss
thing
PETA
is
off.
who's the new overseer of Arrow? They were just on an interview with Jon Stewart recently talking
Oh,
about audits, and that was interesting. Of now it's like Kirkpatrick's got a new boss, and she's like getting his ass into shape. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, jump rope and push-ups. Hiding files under the desk. The whole nine, right?
Go ahead, Matt.
Well, since we're talking about hybrids, like y'all, it's Labor Day weekend. I have a 4-day weekend, so I had some Jack Daniels. I have a question.
Yeah.
So I have a question. This is a serious question because this is me. Like, if you're a genetic crossbreed between an astronaut and a frogman, and you live in the vicinity of Cash Landrum incident and the first man to ever land a plane from space, and you got some genetics of the right stuff, the people that really can do some shit, that have some is public, some's not. If you're that crossbreed, are you a hybrid? Astral, Tom, Shane, Ray? I mean, no.
I don't know if you're a
We
hybrid,
could
but
all technically be.
I'll say that I've heard many places and think that DNA is a big playmaker as far as some of the phenomenon goes. As a matter of fact, I think some of the phenomenon seeks out people because of some kind of a DNA that we don't understand. And it could be Akashic record type bullshit. There's millions of flavors, but I actually read somewhere, I can't remember where the fuck it was. It was a paper related to MK Ultra, and it gave like 4 or 5 different genetic types, and those genetic types had ranges of whether they didn't see people, UFOs, UAP, things like that, were abducted, were not able to be abducted. All had to do with their hybridization, like what breed, what brand, like what they were hybrids of. If they were hybrids of this one, they couldn't get fucked with and get abducted, but they were of this one, they were easel. It's crazy shit.
Sumerian DNA.
No, I'm not
Old school
saying-
Sumerian DNA.
Someone was talking about the fact that like human beings were actually like a combination of like a ton of different. Who was it
Well, look,
that said
ain't
that? Was
nobody
it?
gonna be able to tell you where our junk
I think
DNA
we all
comes
think
from or
that.
what our junk DNA is for a reason.
Yeah, something like that. I think we were
about this.
created by them.
In a small span of time, we went from being what? Basically just a little bit smarter than monkeys to having this brain that does these things. And we
Yeah,
got
the
this
big
junk
kaboom
DNA.
for no reason, right? The big
Yeah,
no
we got-
reason
well-
kaboom.
We got this junk DNA as well. So what's that mean? I think I actually read it somewhere. I'm sure you can find it somewhere where they talk about the possibilities of hybridizations, how many people probably are. Shit, there's papers out there that talk about it.
That's correct. Like, think about this too. And I've heard this brought up several times. You guys have probably heard this before, but I'll make the point. We get sunburn, we get back pain, which seems to be an indication that like gravity is weighing down on our backs. Maybe we were supposed to exist in a lower gravity environment. Sunburn would be maybe we're not next to the exact star that we were supposed to be near. You know what I mean? Like there's different little tidbits that you can look at where you're like, we almost seem like one of the only species that has some of these issues all molded into one being, and it's like we're out of place as a result. And I could be wrong, but I mean, I've heard it presented in that way, and I thought it was kind of interesting.
Welcome, mistress. Go ahead.
Yo, I revealed the target, by the way, up top, just for everybody. So check.
And just so we know, it's not a penis.
It's a dong.
Well, because people keep people keep submitting
Swallow.
penises, so eventually it's going to be right,
To
right?
cover up your target, you might want to like repost that target so it gets to the top front and center?
I'm gonna draw like the most absurdly detailed phallus that I could possibly muster, and
Don't
then
do
that'll
that.
be
Do
my
it.
submission for the
No.
1
Don't
year.
do that.
Do it.
Hey, everybody stepped on Mistress to talk about penises. We're sorry, Mistress. Don't listen to them.
True.
Those are the facts.
Yeah, I was gonna say that there's a new episode of Area 52. The thing that that guy Chris does, Chris Ramsey, really good series. And this episode, he's talking about aliens on Mars, and he's doing like a really good investigation. It started out he talked to various people in regards to like psi abilities. He talks to Yuri Geller. He talks to a bunch of people. Joseph McMonagle, like a bunch of people. And it's really, really interesting. I need to finish watching it myself. It's like 48 minutes
What is
long.
that? Hey, can
Almost.
you repeat what that is that you're talking about?
Yeah, so there's a magician by the name of Chris Ramsey, and he's also had an interest in like the idea of the phenomenon and UFOs and things like that, and psi abilities and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, he's doing a series on YouTube every week now where he goes into and investigates this kind of stuff. He's doing interviews with people, and the episode this week is about aliens on Mars.
I just want to say real quick, like I love Our Lady Peace and the psychics who've never been to Mars and Nazis breastfeeding. Dang, I forgot the name of the song, but you just reminded me of it. But hey, I think Ray had her hand raised.
Well, yeah,
So,
this
right.
is about how they hired psychics to find aliens on Mars or something. Or to like remote view Mars. And see if there's anything up there to even explore. Which would
That's
make
interesting. I know
sense.
they did some remote viewing on the backside of, or like the dark side of the moon too, and they found like bases and shit and like aliens over there.
Talk to
Supposedly
Darcy,
there's
man. Darcy knows a lot about that. Darcy Ware, he's on Twitter, and if anybody ever needs to get a hold of him or has questions about that, like, feel free, man. He's real cool. He'll talk to you about it.
I'll tell you that I heard from that legacy source that when we got to the moon, there were structures at the moon, and he was under the impression that those structures were from a pre-existing civilization from Earth. Not saying that's the case, but he was a legacy whistleblower for a fact in one of these programs, and he was talking about some of this stuff. One of the other things he said though too was, we weren't the first ones to the moon. Hitler strapped a couple V2s together and did an old suicide mission. Had a couple photos.
But one of the first things, dude,
Whoa.
that one of the ways that people took remote viewing seriously was there was like a satellite probe that was going out into our solar system, and they asked Ingo Swann, like, tell us something that the satellite probe is going to discover, and he said there's a ring around Jupiter, and we didn't know it at the time, and so when it went, there was a sure enough ice ring around Jupiter. So we found that information out, and I think that was just kind of like the start of people sort of taking this shit seriously. Ray, what's up?
That is confirmed fact.
Hey, what's up? Congratulations on 50 weeks. You know that I'm a big fan of this space. I'm here to talk about the target. So this week, I think I got more visual input than other senses, and usually it's the opposite. So at first, I perceived like 3 round, like almost like orbs, but in a triangle structure. Like I was getting a strong triangle sense, but then as I moved along further and completed more passes, I got a triangle, um, and then some lines, and I was getting like a feeling of suspense, something lifting, feeling like I was perceiving waves and looking at the image, like that kind of looks like the top of the fence. The sense of something hovering, like something's on was on the edge. And it looks like there's like a flat feature across the fence there. And I also perceive like those knobs to almost be hooks that you could hang something off of. Other descriptors I got were that it's man-made, with an element of nature. And the texture, I got that it was rough and coarse with kind of a fuzzy texture. And I think that's kind of what it looks like it would splinter really easily. So, and then at the very end, I think I've shared this before. Oftentimes, once I'm done like writing down my descriptors, I do a final pass, and I usually get like more visual input at that point, and that's when I drew like a straight line at the very bottom of my page, and yeah, so that's another hit. So I'm feeling good about this one this week too. I used a new crystal that I got. It's called Iolite. It's pretty cool. It's called like the shaman stone. It works the third eye. And yeah, so thanks again for having these spaces.
Do you just have that with you, or how are you sort of using that along with your remote viewing?
So usually I start off by meditating with several different stones. And then I select one that I put to my third eye, and then I kind of like massage my third eye and visualize looking up to where my third eye is or would be. And then I hold it in my left hand, and as I do the pencil drop method. Yep. So I love my crystals.
Right. I have a question because I saw something about organite and those pyramids with and I've seen them before at New Age stores where there's like some metal like in a spiral inside of a pyramid. It's like, to me it seems like it's something you focus on and you get mesmerized by it and you try to like create this conduit with possibly your third eye. I mean, I'm not sure. I just have
Well,
seen.
that makes a lot of sense. I don't. So, I do have an aragonite star cluster, and it's really fucking beautiful. And I know that it's an energy amplifier. Like it. If you look at it, it looks like a starburst. So it has a bunch of crystal points that are moving outwards, and so the function of this crystal is that it like transfers energy of other stones that you're working with, and it extends the energy to different parts of your body and auric fields, and it's really a good a good amplifier crystal to use, like a lot like clear quartz and other stones too. So but in terms of like the structure of the crystal, I don't know much about like the makeup and how they're formed and like the scientific end, but that would make a lot of sense, for sure, that that the actual structure and makeup of the crystal, like that, I think that's where the energy, that's where
Well,
it gets its energy
I
from.
just saw those before, and I know that people make them because someone I know, his girlfriend, like made one. I'm
Oh,
not gonna
you mean
say.
like ones that are made?
Yeah,
Yep, for meditation
yeah, and
purposes, for
it's
sure.
like a little
Yeah.
receiver for your transmission. I'm just curious. Thank you, Ray. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I've never tried that. I use crystals more for tactile purposes. I don't look at them too much unless I'm like just like, I don't know, selecting the one, whatever one is going in my pocket for the day. But yeah, that would make a lot of sense for visual purposes, kind of like using a candle flame.
Focus
But
purposes.
Don't worry, Matt. We're not We don't know that you're talking about Science Bob and Layla. Don't worry.
I'm not talking.
Joe.
I was not singling anybody out. You did.
Yeah, it's all good. Joe Find, what's up? And then UAP Mike.
Hey, so I'm new to the UFO Twitter community, and I've been listening to the different spaces. So thank you guys so much. I've loved hearing all of your stories and the book recommendations. I've actually been seeing stuff, I would say, like for a month now, almost every night, which has been I've never it's new for me. So I've been kind of going down the rabbit hole of like human initiated contact CE5, I guess it's also called.
Here we go.
And kind
Yeah,
of
buddy.
exploring that. I don't I maybe I'm an experiencer, I'm not quite sure. It's just weird. But I'm also interested in the remote viewing. Specifically, I've got my youngest brother. He's been missing for almost 2 years. So
Really sorry to hear that.
yeah, thank you. So what I've been kind of wondering is remote viewing something that is specific people have that strength and that gift, or is it something that everybody's capable of if they practice? I don't even know what practicing looks like. Because I'm kind of trying to put my intention out there for my brother, and that's what I've been doing regularly.
Some are more gifted than others, for sure.
Okay.
Just keep praying is my 2 cents.
Okay.
Well, I can put you in touch too with some of the remote viewers that are willing to do something like that. And I think the issue with trying to find people is that the environment that you get could initially change of where they're at. So you could get where they're at right now, and it could be a totally different place when you actually go to look for them of where they are. And so it could change.
Absolutely,
But it could
be a
help
piece
where
of the
their
puzzle.
vicinity.
Yeah, it's a
actually,
piece of
absolutely.
the puzzle, and it's more information. So the more information, the better. Go ahead, Ray.
No, I was going to say, I know there are at least like 2 people in this community I can think of that have either discussed, trying, having experience with searching for missing persons, or at least knowing remote viewers that have had success with this. So I can DM you. The other thing I wanted to say, that's similar to what Matt was saying. This community, a lot of us here do kind of believe in the power of positive thinking and manifestation. So if others could maybe like join me, I'm certainly going to take some time to just focus some positive energy towards your brother. And I'm so sorry to hear that. What an awful thing to experience.
Yeah, it's
really I see that you have a post about him missing, and I don't think I have to really even say this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Let's all share that real quick.
Please, I really appreciate it. Thank you. As many eyes as possible, because we just don't know where he is right now. But he went missing from Orlando, Florida. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, and I think if anybody wants to, contribute to
I just
any
reposted
information right now. Okay, go ahead, Matt.
Well, I just want to say, I think it was the first post. Maybe it was pinned, but I reposted that. Hopefully, that was the what I need retweet. Can somebody post that to the Jumbotron so that we all can see and retweet?
Yeah, the post that I have pinned on there in my Twitter it's got his flyer on it. And then also a few posts down, or maybe the very next post that I retweeted.
Oh, is that the
My
one?
sisters and I just recently did a podcast. And so there's a link to a podcast in a post also. If you guys want to watch the podcast to hear his story, it's a pretty good, like, complete story of what's going on with his, how he disappeared. And that's available, and you can share that as well.
Hey Joe, I posted some to the Jumbotron. Can I have your permission? Is that okay to? Because otherwise I'll delete it. But is that what you're wanting to share?
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you. I appreciate it, Matthew. Yeah, so thank you very much for letting me chat with you guys, and I'll just go back to listening. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in the remote viewing and seeing if it can get me any kind of information that's accurate and helpful.
Yeah, you're absolutely in the right place. I mean, this community is full of like people practicing psi abilities and remote viewing. There's psychics, like I'm a psychic. I would also recommend there's a person, her name is Goddess Haven. I could send you a link to her. She's on Twitter as well. She's in the community and she is like, she's done stuff like that before with helping people find people and solve cases. She's been an advisor on that before, so she
No,
might be able
I
to help
don't.
you out.
Astral. I'm going to ask Astral. Astral probably has some contacts to some very good ones. Since you're in this space, I'm going to ask
Yeah.
Astral to please pass that on to someone that the Ryan Institute knows, because he may be in contact with some very good ones, and I'm not sure, not gonna make any promises, but maybe Astral can help. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. I
Yeah, I
appreciate
gotta
it.
for sure.
And it's
You're definitely in the
part,
right place.
yeah, and part of the experiences that I've been having when I've been seeing things have also been like, I would say emotions have been kind of involved. Like I felt just like an intense sense of love, like one of the first times it happened, kind of all over, and it didn't come, like it didn't come from me. I don't know. And then I closed my eyes and I just saw green, and green is actually the color we've been using for Vladik, because that was his favorite color. That's his favorite color. So I was just like, holy shit, this is fucking real. And I just started crying. So it's been like really personal and emotional, and I just want to kind of see like where this might possibly lead me. So thank you guys.
Oh, thanks for sharing. I think that's powerful, and yeah, stick around. And I think just anybody getting more information, and I've definitely got some people that I could put you in contact with. I know UAP Mike, you've been studying remote viewing, I think, for a little bit recently here. What are your thoughts, dude?
Yeah. So with Joe, I am so my heart goes out to you for what you're saying, and I've seen a lot of people have to deal with that kind of thing, and I really think I'm happy that you're open to a lot of different resources. I think one of the most important things is continue to have hope. That drives a lot of things, even even if it's health related, all those things. Just always fight and keep fighting, and definitely my thoughts will be with you. But hopefully, what I'm about to talk about, you're welcome, is my wife did she's been remote viewing for a couple years now. I'm no good at it, but she's really good. Like when we go to casinos, right? For some reason, like she hits crazy jackpots on slot machines that like shouldn't happen, in my opinion, in that frequency. If I'm around, she doesn't hit it. It's so weird. So I have to like walk to the other side of the casino and just go play like $5 hands of blackjack to like hope that she hits a jackpot and I don't lose too much. Anyways, if you look under Astral after you posted your the reveal. I posted what my wife remote viewed at 10:20 p.m. So you revealed at 10:25 p.m. was your timestamp. My wife's timestamp on her remote view 5 minutes prior to your reveal, and like I put it side to side right under your post. And if you could take a look, and if you can throw it up on the jumbotron, dude, she's got the shapes down pat. And she's even written that there's a flag, mountains, and snow. She thought possibly the shapes were mountains, but she drew a flag, right? So I'm thinking this looks like some sort of crude fortification. There had to be a banner or a flag flying there at some point, right?
Oh,
You
I,
know,
I
and
do remember. I was going through. That was a really good one, dude. That was actually a really good one because of the mountains and the points of how many there were too.
no,
Hey, I'm just
I'm talking about the reveal. I'm talking about the reveal you revealed tonight at August 31st.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at it with the mountains. The
Yeah.
drawing. I'm just looking at the submission right now. I
I had no
saw that.
idea
It
that
looked
was Mike, man. This NASA, I've been calling him
Ah,
NASA this high times. Like that dude sounds like fucking Mike.
Oh, it's already up in the Megatron.
Unbelievable, bro!
Yeah,
Look at
I
how many
posted it up
look
already,
at how
dude. It
many
was a good
posts are
one.
there. I think that's the most that we've ever had. Potentially, there's so many dots on my screen.
I'm gonna change
But
my
anyways,
name.
yeah, she got those. If you look at the shapes of what she drew compared to the fence fortifications there, that's pretty spot on. And again, I think the flag is pretty cool because those are definitely fortifications and had to be a flag there.
Do you guys believe that two people can enhance each other's RV abilities by way of some sort of connection?
I think it's possible. Yeah. I mean, so Hal Puthoff, right? He wanted to do that study where was it Hal Puthoff or Kit Green? I think it was Kit Green, right? Where you have the two remote viewers on opposite ends of the world, right? And they're hooked up to whatever an fMRI or some sort of like EEG machine, and they try to telepathically connect. But I think that I don't know if that's the same kind of thing, but he wanted to pick two very strong remote viewers, hopefully for the chance that they kind of like boost each other's connection.
Yeah, I think it's possible if you believe in the theory of the the social consciousness, the collective unconscious and such, for lack of a better phrase or term that it's called a million different things.
We could also
Then
use a Montauk
yes,
chair to boost that fucking psi ability like a mofo, bro. Like
yeah, yo, you've
hardcore.
brought that up so many times. I actually don't know a whole lot about that, but would really,
Oh,
really
bro,
like
we'll
to
talk. I'll
learn.
teach you a lot about that.
Yeah, man, it
Any
sounds
one of
really
those
interesting.
devices that they use to enhance said psi abilities, because if it is a consciousness thing and it's about the spectrum, right? Think about it. If we can focus that energy, now the reason I say that is because the Greys have a steering device supposedly, and that steering device they connect with their consciousness and the way they connect, and it's all about focusing energy
Right.
one way or the other, right? So imagine that shit having the ability to sit in a chair, and all it's doing is because again, the Conjurer of Mirrors showed us that there is ability to focus time and you can manipulate things because of that, which we enhanced it with the Montauk chair. So I imagine we have some psi super soldiers, such as, what I'm going to say, right? Scott Andrews. I'm
Wait,
also
wait,
going
Yeah.
to
wait, wait. Old Shane. Like, have you
Old
ever heard
Shane,
the term?
motherfucker, Old
Old
Shane.
Yeah,
Shane.
old Shane. Biopsychometrics. Like, if you Google that on the Defense Technical Information, well, DTIC, Defense Technical Information College. I forgot what DTIC stands for. But biopsychometrics. You talk about the Montauk chair, like biopsychometrics is the key word on that. Just Google it. I love you, brother.
For real, thank you for that, brother. And that's the actual reason I love these spaces and things like that. A lot of the times I'll have pieces of puzzle. And again, the Ryan Leaf of UFO reporters here. So, and I'll be working on shit, right? And trying to put shit out, but I'm really good at taking these puzzle pieces, and I get most of them from these rooms, people on these, they actually DM me and shit. So,
Hey Shane,
what's up?
hey, could I just squeeze one more thing in here? I'm sorry to
Dude, go
interrupt
ahead,
before
Mike.
I forget it.
Now that I know your name.
For Joyce, when my wife did that remote view, she did it blindfolded too. which is an old, like, not an old, whatever, like a tasting trick when we were in the wine business, right? Like, to help taste things better, you increase sensory by shutting other sensories off. So in case, I don't know if it helps anyone, but if you're having trouble, like, kind of like meditating, remote viewing, etc., maybe try blindfolding to help you concentrate or
Hey,
shut off other sensories.
Mike, I want to recommend a book to you for your wife, Joyce. It's called Mental Radio by Upton Sinclair, and it's a classics in consciousness studies. And the preface was by Albert Einstein. And this is the I'm looking at the Russell Targ edition. And if you talk about mental radio, like the drawings with like the from another room and stuff like Astral does with remote viewing, Upton Sinclair wrote a very fine book called Mental Radio with preface by Albert Einstein. And when you look through the book at the pictures, that influenced our federal government, because the preface was by Albert Einstein at the Princeton Institute for Advanced Studies. So, mic drop moment.
Well, one of the cool things too that I've learned about with remote viewing is when you look into remote viewing, you might learn about something called the Ganzfeld, which was like basically like sensory influence, where you would put like a blindfold. They would do like old school like ping pong balls, like over their eyes, or have like a red light and have white noise playing, or be like in a recliner chair. So there would be like ways that people would try to like calm their senses to be able to read the target. So yeah, that does make sense when you just said that, Mike, that blindfold might help, or any kind of sensory deprivation could influence in a good way your ability.
Astral, I'm glad that you just said sensory deprivation, because I've actually had this like in my back pocket for like the last 20 minutes, and I've been wanting to find like a good way to bring it up. But I found near me, within like 25 minutes of my house, there's
You found acid, didn't you?
Well, the next best thing, I
mushrooms.
found somewhere that I can go that has sensory deprivation tanks, and I've
Wounded
never
Warrior
done it
sends me to
before.
those motherfuckers. They're bomb. You should go.
What I'm gonna do is, since I've never done it before, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna like film my experience and post it as a video. I've never done it, and I'm reading a book right now by the guy who created the sensory deprivation tank, a guy named John C. Lilly, and his books are wild, dude. Like really, really, like Terrence McKenna level stuff. It's nuts.
Just don't smoke crack in this
Nah,
deprivation tank, and
no.
don't video
Full
that.
sobriety,
Someone else
dude.
already did that. You got to do something
I'm
else.
going in. I've been clean and sober for 9 years, man. I ain't breaking it now.
Don't have sex with the dolphin.
No, I'm not doing that either.
Well, don't let dolphin have sex with you. That's the main thing.
Goes both ways, man. That's assault.
Why is?
Calm down. Hold up. Everybody needs to calm down. Where the hell did have sex with dolphins come in?
Because
and where did you go to do that? I'm asking
John C.
for a
Lilly
friend.
did a bunch of research on communications with dolphins.
I understand that, but we went
Well,
right
no, they
to have
wanted
sex
to
with
speak.
dolphins. Hold up.
No, I'm not going to tell you, Shane. Hold up.
Hold on. Let me ask. This is what I'm saying is,
Oh,
I'm not talking about if it's relevant. What I'm saying is, we jumped right from sensory deprivation to having sex with dolphins. I'm confused.
Yo, I'm
We
dead.
got off track just a little bit.
In the deprivation tank while the sex is happening.
Yeah,
I'm going to go do.
That is what was going
from the
on.
dolphin sex,
Now we're
as good
talking.
as that may be.
I'm going to do the tank. There will be no dolphins and there will be no crack. There will be a YouTube video, but there will be no dolphins or crack.
Well, no, John C. Lilly was doing acid in a sensory deprivation
Yes,
tank
that's true.
while the dolphin house in the Bahamas, while that grad student was like spending 6 months to a year with the dolphin, trying to get the dolphin to vocalize like through the blowhole, through certain communications, where it always spends time with that female. And so he was getting excited because he was a teenage dolphin, and she was on a time crunch and needed him to focus. So She checked him off. Peter the dolphin.
We're still
All right.
off
Okay.
with
we're
the
still
Friends, you're up
talking about
next, but here's the
dolphins.
thing. That's a great story with context. Without it, it's just
Jesus.
straight to having sex with dolphins. Even actually with the context,
Bro,
it's
we're
fucked
gone.
up. Friends,
Yeah, we're just here. I'm just gonna do it for everybody.
Just
No
block
more
him.
no more
block him,
talking about
Banhammer his
dolphin
ass.
sex.
getting more
It's
love
over.
than what the
This
fuck's
is the
going
end
on?
of it. We're going back to sensory deprivation
Let's
tanks.
go to hands.
I don't even
And
know
yeah,
how
you know
we-
what's
I was
instead of
trying to
fins,
steer
let's go to
that ship
hands.
and
You're
kept
right.
Going
You're
back
right.
to the dolphin sex.
That was a classic moment, dude. That was actually hilarious, but it ends
Get that
now.
on a t-shirt.
It does end now. Because it got weird very quickly.
Depends on
think?
if you're the dolphin.
Fringe, what's up? Please save us.
Friend, save us.
You're our only hope.
You guys, it's bad when I'm not the craziest person in the room. So you have that going for you.
That might be
Thanks
Matt.
for the space, Astral. Thanks to the co-host. I wanted to get to just real quick back to Joe. Hopefully she gets hooked up with somebody talented in the community who can help her out. And I just wanted to also suggest dowsing because it's simple, very easy to learn. And you can just start with a grid map, say, of the world, and then go down to the United States, and then just go quadrant to quadrant. And it can just kind of help narrow down, the search, and maybe with other information she has that could possibly be helpful. And that was it. Thank you very much.
Hey, you know what, friends? Thank you for doing that and reaching out. I think a lot of us are still in shock with the last story, and I'm not trying to keep bringing it up. I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck just happened prior, right? So, Ray, save us again. I don't even know what to say to that shit. I was just like, wait, what are we talking about here? Because for my PTSD, I'll say those sensory deprivation chambers, lifesavers, love them. But I don't know about no dolphin sex. I shouldn't even have mentioned it. What am I doing? Go, Ray.
God.
So I have a few thoughts. First, Thomas, I don't know how long you've been in New Jersey for, but the Rockaway Mall used to have sensory deprivation tanks in them, like back in 2010 or some shit. They were all the rage. They're popular. And my next thought, in response to Mike, you said something about. Well, I'll go to that last. In response to still on the topic of sensory deprivation, I didn't use it this week or last week, and I'm wondering now if that had something to do with like I didn't have as many hits the past few weeks as I have had in previous weeks, and I'm wondering if it's because I didn't use my normal sensory deprivation stuff. So usually I use a face mask and do it blindfolded, and I also start my meditation or the remote viewing using white noise. And then I do find that to be really helpful with like getting into the zone. And then I take the earphones out once I start once I start the passes, just because I like to hear the pencil drop and have like total silence. But I find like blindfolding and using the eye mask is like super, super helpful. Not having any light come in. Also, it's really, really useful with holding a crystal to your third eye. So I find that to be a good use. The last thing, Mike, so you said something about Joyce's submission about a flag. Like, I see that she has a flag drawn. Did you say like the knobs on that, like, were those intended for a flag? What did you say about that?
What do you mean the knobs? Are you?
You said something like about a flag post.
Yeah, so she drew like a flag on top of what she thought were like mountains, but she kept like, I heard her say to me like after she was doing it, she's like, I got a flag, like I saw a flag, and she kind of just like planted on top of what she thought were mountains, right? But it looks like it's a fortification, so I was like, oh, maybe there's a flag that flew there, maybe.
Oh, okay. That makes sense because I just know one of the descriptors I wrote was waves and like feeling of movement, and something
She said
like hovering.
cool air.
So that would check out
cool
with
air,
that.
snow, mountains. So if you wrote like cool air kind of lines up if you got that kind of sensation of like breeze or whatever, some sort of flag waving in the wind or something. That's what it seemed like.
like some fort or something that a flag would be there because they like set up the fort to defend something. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Tamara, what's up? And then I saw my boy Unknown RV jumped up as well.
Hi, yeah. So I just jumped into this group because I felt the energy of it. I don't know what I can share or how it can help you on your process of growth, but I can feel energy. I can resonate with it. I can manifest it with intent. What I know is that I am an intuitive. I about 5 years ago, I stepped into frequency, energy, and vibration, and I could raise it with intent. And this is very specific. It's about stepping into the theta realm, which is, seven, or it's close to the Schumann resonance. Or so what I found is that when I stepped into that frequency, I could raise it with intent, and by accident, I was able to astral project. I think it's all about energy, frequency, and vibration, and stepping into our light and manifesting that frequency. We need to be that which we see ourselves as, not whom we limit ourselves to be. So if we step into the energy and resonate with it, we can step into different realms and all that stuff. But more importantly, it's about stepping into our light. We need to resonate at different waves of frequency. And this goes back to Tesla. It goes back to energy, frequency, and vibration. So, and please cut me off whenever you want. I'm just speaking my truth. But when you step into, let's say, ascension is based on frequency, right? And when you step into lack, like fear-based paradigm, that resonates at 100 hertz. When you step into neutrality, it resonates at 300 hertz. When you step into love, it resonates at 500 hertz, and so on. Ascension begins between 650, 750 hertz. God frequency is the highest frequency, and that is what we all have the ability to achieve. Yeshua, the ascended masters, they figured it out. We have the possibility to change reality by stepping into our truth. These deletes harness our energy to create their reality so that they can manifest change. We need to step out of their paradigm, step into our truth, and become that which we see ourselves as, not whom we limit ourselves to be. And this is not a test, but a testament to who we are. Our timeline is dependent on our ability to recognize our strength, and the world is shifting. We're going from a 3D to a 5D perspective, and our future reality is dependent on our ability to step into our truth, our authenticity and vulnerability and transparency. All of that is who we came here to challenge ourselves to become. Anyways, just channeling a little bit. I don't have all the answers. No one does. But when you step into authenticity, vulnerability, and transparency, light or truth becomes available to you. And we all need to do that. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming up here and talking about that as well, too. You were talking about speaking your truth. One of the things that's super important about these rooms is we're respectful, and people get to talk about all these different things, their truths. That's the perfect way to use it, right? Because reality's got to be slightly flexible, and it's not one size fits all either. I'm still learning from people in these rooms about different topics that I'm just getting out of the nuts and bolts and just getting into the whole what we're discussing tonight type thing. Astral was actually my introduction to it. So, but it's cool being
The
in here
woody
listening to everybody else.
woo. That
What?
woo woo. The woody
Yeah, the woo woo.
Hey, can I say one more thing about astral projection? Because I've been able to harness it. Okay, so I'm going into the science behind it. When you step into the theta realm, which is between I don't know the hertz, 7 and 9 hertz. That's similar to the Hawking or the Schumann resonance, and you have to understand how that link is pertinent. So
Tamara, how many do you think taking lots of mushrooms is acceptable? And that's a serious question. I'm not asking that in like.
Oh yeah, I'll answer it honestly. It's a cheat code to ascension.
Exactly.
It's
She
a
knows,
cheat code.
or Tamara knows. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, it's a cheat code to ascension, but we need to manifest that within our own frequency in order to achieve enlightenment or ascension. It's literally, you can step into that realm for a split second, but why not do it naturally? Why not raise your frequency to the highest potentiality of self and become that version of self that you seek outside of yourself? We often externalize our need for validation. Like we externalize our light instead of internalizing it. We have to become that version of self that we seek outside of ourselves.
That's what rock music is made of.
What's up, Sue?
I'm definitely taking a lot of ascension at the next concert I go
to. Nice.
Hey guys, I wasn't going to speak because I barely have a voice, so I could stop at any moment. But I am so excited, and it's been almost 24 hours, and I've been jumping out of my skin. Last night I couldn't. I'll make this very quick because I can't share the whole thing right now. But last night I couldn't sleep, and I just could not sleep. And about 2:30 in the morning, I said, I'll just go out. We have a big front porch, and I said, I'll just go out and see the moon. And I saw the moon, and then to my right, my left, I saw something, and I did take pictures, and I was like, wow, I don't know what that is, but nothing spectacular. But you guys will probably debunk it in a second. And then I went back in trying to get to sleep, but really excited, trying to find somebody who was awake so I could talk to them. And after, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, I said, I'm just going to see if it changed. And it did. It had moved. And then out of the corner of my eye, I saw something. And I don't have any idea how to explain what it is. But when you zoom in on it, it's a very strange looking thing. It wasn't moving or anything. And then to the left, across the street from that, I could barely see a hazy figure, a hazy same object in front of a house, about two houses up. When I took my phone away from my face, I couldn't see it in real life. I could only see it through my camera. But I took a whole bunch of pictures. Like I said, you guys are probably going to debunk everything right off the bat.
You need to post them up, Sue. That heck yeah.
I
Post them
know.
up in the chat. We want to check them out.
Sue,
I'm
the
like
very
feverishly looking
Sue,
through
last
Twitter
night
right
the
now, trying
very
to
same
figure out where
thing
it is.
happened to me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was just excited. The very same thing happened to me last night, and I got a video of it. So I don't know.
My phone
Wow.
is so full. I can't video. I gotta
It was
get rid of.
bouncing up and down. It was kind of like fuzzy, like you said. I could only see it through my phone,
Yeah.
and it was bouncing up and down so much. I laughed at it, and I said stop, and it literally stopped moving for several seconds, and then it went away. It was wild.
These were three different things. Well, two were the same. The ones that were opposite on the street. One was very clear, and one was like a hazy look of the same one. And one was north. Oh no, I'm sorry, east, and it was just it looked like just a round circle. The sky was clear, crystal clear, and there was not one star. So that's what was like got my attention. And I was so excited that like I spun around, I almost fell off the porch. I ran in the house, and then I was like, I gotta go back out. I could see if anything changed, and that's when I saw the other two things. But I'm telling you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm not well today, and I will share it. I will. I'm dying to share it because I haven't had anything like that. So
Are
from
you
now
from
on,
Jersey?
no, New England. From now on, I'm headed outside in the middle of the night. I couldn't. This sounds strange, but I couldn't go down my porch and into the street so I could see these things better because you don't want to go too far around this neighborhood. So I couldn't take that chance. I had to stay up on my porch. But yeah, I'll find a space in the next couple of days and I'll put it all in there, and or I'll just
Wait, you
tweet.
came up here for the last 5 minutes telling us about these photos you took, but you're not gonna post them? Okay, bye. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
you know I love you. Stop that. Um, well, I want to post it, but like it's hard to post it and not describe it. You
Yeah, but
know.
how do you expect us to
Okay.
rise
All
to,
right.
and ascend and at the same time like be able to like resonate with you when we don't have any reference? We need that reference. We do.
Post, 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 post.
Okay. I always forget how to put it up in the next.
Otherwise, it's just a burlesque show. You're teasing us.
Well, that's not so bad. Anyway, how do I get up in the nest? I always forget. Or should I just put it?
Shane will DM you how. It's the on the far right, the arrow upward inside the box. Tamara, did you want to
Oh
add
yeah.
something? Yeah.
Hi, yeah. So it's funny because I step into authenticity, vulnerability, and transparency. I don't often go to Twitter spaces, but I felt a need to. And so I'm flipping through spaces and I'm like, oh, let me go to this remote viewing, UFOs, psychedelic, and consciousness. What I know to be truth, and I need to share this with you, not to say that I'm right. I'm operating on my own degree of frequency. But remote viewing, I haven't been able to do. Astral projection, I have. Um, UFOs, psychedelic, and consciousness. Um, I want to expand on a little bit, and just give me a moment. We are all going through this massive transition. We're going from a 3D to a 5D frequency. These deletes are harness our energy to create their reality, but we're winning and we're shifting in a major way. Know that whatever we're going through right now, all these paradigms are going to lose, and our utopia is just around the corner. And you have to believe that, because you have the ability to create with intent, because you, and I'm not a Bible pusher, this is not about Bible, you were made in God's image. So you have the ability to create with intent. So they harness your energy to create their reality. So they push these fear-based paradigms into your perspective in order to create a narrative, right? So if they push fear, which resonates at 100 hertz, into your perspective, guess what? That's what you're going to resonate at. When they push lack or fear or all these different narratives, that's what you're going to create, because you step into that frequency. So you need to step out of that frequency and produce your own frequency. So step away from the narrative, step into your truth, align with what you came here to do, because we are light workers in a sense, and we have to resonate at a certain degree of frequency. So if you turn on the news and you step into the fear and you push that fear, guess what? You're just propagating their agenda. So what you need to do is step out of fear, turn off the news, step into grounding, do whatever it is to align with your higher self, and step into your truth, step into authenticity, step into vulnerability, and become that which you see yourself as, not whom you limit yourself to be. Everything we're going through is not a test, but a testament to who we are. We need to step into our light in order to change the narrative, that 5D frequency. And it's happening with or without us. But if you align with it, then you are a part of our future, our transformation into light, which will inevitably happen.
That's powerful stuff. You should be a public speaker. Like, I could picture you talking in front of crowds of people that
Well, you
could
know,
really use that, you know?
and unfortunately, I don't have a lot of self-confidence when I'm stepping into it. You know, I'll get there when it's the time is right for me.
When I started podcasting, like, and I was looking at myself on the screen, I was always like, am I making a weird face? Am I doing something that I don't know that I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing? And now, you know, a year later, it's easy. When we had Tim Burchett, that's actually apparently how he actually says his last name. We had Congressman Burchett on. I wasn't even nervous. Like once you start getting into the groove and start doing those things, if you believe you can do them and you can do them well, and other people are telling you that you can do them, and you get into that groove, it becomes easy after a while. The nerves go
Hey,
away.
dude. You know what's funny though? I ain't gonna lie. Check this out. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Just piggyback off it. What, like Rep Birch, any of these guys, with me interviewing them, you were always getting Shane interviewing him. So I was always saying stupid shit because I was trying to be a reporter because that shit came hard and fast. And so here I was interviewing all these people, and I'd be, oh shit, man. That shit was fun. I didn't mean, I muted your mic just because we were getting feedback from you. Go ahead, Tamara.
Yeah, so about 5 years ago, so I'm an intuitive, right? Not necessarily, I didn't believe in it for a long time. I have a master's in psychology. You know, like, I didn't believe in it. My biological mother left when I was 6 years old. She lived in Sedona. She traveled across the United States in a covered wagon. I did not believe in it until about 5 years ago when I had an experience where I heard from spirit for the first time. So in that theta realm, as I was falling asleep, as I was waking up in the astral projected, I heard spirit for the first time. She gave me her name, and she died a town away from me. And I'm like, oh shit, this is all for real. And I started stepping into that perspective, and I started looking at intuitives. I'm like, oh, they're all fake. You know, like, I didn't believe in anyone, but what I did understand was energy, frequency, and vibration. It goes back to Tesla. When you raise your frequency, when you step into your light, that's what manifests change. And we have the ability to harness that energy. And they know this and they harness it to create their reality. So we need to step into our strength. We need to step out of lack. We need to step into truth and become that version of self that we see ourselves as. And yeah, and anyways, going, I don't want to take up too much time, but when I stepped into that energy, frequency, and vibration, and stepped into that theta realm and raised my frequency, I was able to astral project. And I couldn't harness the energy once I got on the other side. So it was just like a brief moment of time. But at the same time, um, I knew the feeling of it. This portion on the other side of reality, in higher states of consciousness, is about our light. It's about our frequency, and it's euphoric almost, or erotic almost. It's this knowingness of self. This is what we all try to achieve. Yeshua figured it out. The ascended masters figured it out. And we all have that potentiality to achieve it, right? So let's say fear resonates at 100 hertz. That's what they put into our perspective to achieve reality, right? Neutrality resonates at 300. Love resonates at 500. Ascension begins between 650, 750. God consciousness is the highest frequency, and we all have the ability to achieve it, right? So they harness our energy to create their reality. These deletes have been in control forever. It goes back in lineage. It goes back to Egyptian. It goes back to everything, right? Their lineage, their genetic lineage, they think are superior to us. But let me give you another piece of knowledge. These vaccines that they're putting into us are specifically targeted on lineage. It goes back to blood type and all that.
Okay, I respect everything you're saying until you start bringing the vaccine talk into it.
I understand, and I can share my perspective. I've done, and I disagree with it for forever long, but I've done 4 to 6 hours of research since this all started. But I appreciate your perspective, and be ans- I'd be more than willing to share information with you, and also, yeah.
That's straight. I like that exchange right there too. That was nice.
Healthy.
Yeah. I'm gonna close the space up in about 5 or 10 minutes. So I want to give everybody an opportunity who has their hand up. Again, thanks for everybody for stopping by for the 50th week for the remote viewing. Just everybody who's participated over, the last year, basically. Thanks again, and it's been just a privilege to be able to hold these spaces for everybody in the community. So. Want to keep the discussion going. Fringe, and then over to G. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks, Astral. Thanks, Tom. Tamara, I was wondering. So you said you think that the astral travel is happening in theta. Have you found a frequency to keep us in our bodies, or less likely to be able to leave the body while you're doing your research?
Yeah, so I found it similar to the the Schumann resonance. So it's in that 7.83 hertz. So it's sort of between theta and alpha, I think. But yeah, I think that frequency is probably the best. I found that stepping into that frequency allows me to connect with my higher self, or the higher potentiality of self. So yeah.
Oh, great. And then have you found anything to keep us in the body or less likely to leave? Any frequencies in that area?
Unfortunately, no. I found that when I do step into astral projection, that I can't maintain the frequency. So it's it's somewhat a learning process for me too.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate it.
It's an interesting question too, and I think even with remote viewing, people talk about being able to remote view, but is there a way to prevent you from being remote viewed? Like it's kind of like on the defensive or like the other side of it, the thinking.
Hey, before I go, but I do have to go because it's like 11:30 at night for me. But I want to post something in the bubble. Hopefully, I'll have a chance to do it before you guys log off. But I want to post something about our true history and step to the 6 minute marker. Anyways, thank you.
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely. We'll keep this open for about another 5 minutes. I'll throw it around to anybody else who wants to jump in before we close up the space. Thanks again for Shane and Tom for co-hosting. G, how's it going? Thanks again for your contribution and your participation. She's one of the most active remote viewers that have been coming by. So thanks again. How's it going?
Hi guys. Thank you for holding the space. I have been sick all week. Been fighting some really high fevers with this big nasty C, but I couldn't miss this, so I wanted to still make an attempt. And I actually think that it was kind of a lot of busy, but I think that I did get part of it. I listed it. I listed a drawing, and it had on the side of it, it just had prickly thorns or design, like that type of design. And so I see the wood laying across with, I don't know if those are bolts or kind of like little prongs. And then I also listed, well, on my wording, I had abstract, busy scene, or confusing, rectangle, red, and then I put smell of lumber or similar scent, smoky. So what I see is that they look like big pieces of wood. I guess the fortified wood. So I feel like I kind of got part of it. Might have not been a lot, but also with the little side drawing. Um, but on the bottom, I've kind of had a hard time getting out of bed this week, but um, today I kept receiving a repetitive image, and so what I saw was like a white paper with a dark rectangle in the middle of it. I couldn't understand it, but I wrote it down. And then I saw like a notebook with a pen or a pencil laying across it. And then after I drew it and after I wrote everything down, I just thought that looks like my own notepad. And that looks like usually I'm trying to picture the image of what's inside the envelope. And so that uh, image that I keep seeing, like it's like a white rectangular image with a dark rectangular in the middle. I'm now realizing that that's when I'm attempting to view the actual photo on the paper inside the envelope, and I just realized it today. I had had that for a couple of weeks, so I just wanted to share that. One last thing is that today I hadn't been outside, so I wanted to go out and recharge, and I was just wondering if anybody had any insight because I did post like on my second page. Um, there's these little squiggly marks, and I looked up at the sky, and um, so I don't remember seeing this before, and maybe other people have. I looked up at the sky, and I saw a lot of like little things that appeared to be translucent or electrically charged. And it was in the blue area, but they looked like a little, to me, I would just describe it that they look like tiny little electrons or neutrinos, but I have no idea why, I mean, it's just as a reference of to me what it looked like. But I did focus on the clouds, and I did not see it on the clouds, and I did focus on, the trees and a bird and other things, and I did not see it there. It was only in the blue parts of the sky, and I saw the sky was just filled, or that immediate view that I had was just filled with it. And so I was just wondering, has anybody ever seen that before? I never have, but they look like tiny little, like electric type of like translucent little things like squiggling around, just kind of like swimming around in the sky. Sorry, I didn't want to really get off topic, but I just wanted to thank you so much for having these spaces. I don't think that I would have come this far without having jumped in, and also the assistance from Ray, because she's provided so much help along the way, and I really, really appreciate all of you guys. I just wanted to let y'all know that. Thanks. Have a great night.
Thank
Hey,
you.
I can respond to actually what you're talking about. What I think you're talking about with the electric like squiggly lines. So this has happened to me maybe 2 or 3 times in the past year or so when I've been like really anxious and outside. I like something will happen with my eyes when I'm like staring off. And usually it is against the sky, and I imagine it has something to do with like having like like a clear background, where that what you're describing does happen, but it doesn't look like it's in the sky for me. It looks like it's like right in my frame of vision, and I think it's something like I don't know, like I think it's something related for me, related to anxiety and just like my body recalibrating or resetting or something. If I'm understanding what you're describing correctly, does that sound, I don't know. That's just my experience. And then I heard you mention like, has anybody else been feeling anxious? And I definitely have been. You guys might have noticed it in my voice tonight. It definitely like shows in my speech when I'm feeling anxious. My voice gets kind of shaky, and yeah, I say a lot. Um, yeah. So for me, I know it's the full moon, and I that sounds crazy, but I'm like super in sync with the full moon. So um yes, for me, like I know exactly what it is. So I'm sorry that you're struggling with being under the weather. Being sick fucking sucks. But I'm happy you were able to get back outside today. And gee, I love hearing your experiences. Like I said before, on a post, I remember your first space, um, in the RV spaces, and it's just been really cool to share experiences together each week.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yes, actually, I kind of when I did look, I was looking at the sky, and it was only within the blue parts of the sky, and I made sure, like, I thought to myself, I've been sick for a few days. I haven't been outside, but am I seeing things? But it actually, like, it looked almost translucent, and the only thing that I've never seen it before, but the only thing that kind of brought to that, it kind of came to mind was that I had been feeling like really sick with a high fever, so I didn't know if possibly like I was seeing other particles in a different dimension. I don't know if that sounds funny, but yeah, and I'm also always in tune with viewing the moon. I love space. I always have. I think that's probably one of the reasons that at such an early age, I was one of the reasons that I may have been targeted or exposed to all this. So, yeah, but
Well,
thank you.
gee, real quick, I think it makes a lot of sense that we would experience different things that we don't normally experience when we have things like a fever, because I know that in certain like ritualistic ceremonies, they try to induce like sweats and fever like states, and yeah, there's like a thing like fever dreams, right? That's a thing. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for your help that I've had this whole time. I really appreciate it.
Hey, where'd Shane go? I just posted everything on his DM because I can't think straight. I have a migraine. And I wanted to get it in the nest before he closed up. Astral, I sent
He'll
it.
be back. Well, I don't know if he'll be back by the end of this
Yeah.
space, but he is settling down, so he'll be writing some more and doing some stuff. He mentioned it earlier. So stay tuned. Definitely, Shane will be back at his. He's just been traveling a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, I know. Well, I
Busy,
might
busy
end up.
guy.
I might end up just posting it on Twitter.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a great avenue for people to post different types of evidence, whether it's videos or different experiences. I think Twitter and X has been over the last year, just with the different remote viewing spaces. It's been really entertaining and also interesting to see people's submissions and analyzing it and seeing their methods. So I appreciate everybody again for coming by.
Thank
We'll
you.
wrap up the hands, and then we'll go over everybody to clear up the space and wrap this thing up. But Tamara, what's up?
Hi, yeah. So I just wanted to respond to G. I've stepped into different spiritualities of like astral projection and all that, but what I found is that in like since I was a kid, I would have these dreams. It's not astral projection, but I would have these dreams of seeing lights up in the sky and shifts of color and different paradigms. So I did see what you were seeing. And I think that everyone sees different things, but what I found is when I stepped into that theta realm, I'd have a clearer perspective. And when I step into that higher version of self, so when I connect with my higher self, what I see is colors, or sort of like a lava lamp in my head. That's the best way I can describe it. And I'd see these shifting colors and lights and everything else. But I would also, and I want you to focus on this. So if you dream, or not if you dream, but if you meditate, I want you to see circles, okay? And they will go either inward or outward. Inward is giving you information, outward is expanding your frequency. So just focus on the colors that you're seeing and either internalize them, have the circles going inward, or expand them, have them going outward. Because it's allowing, okay, so what is happening is it, the circles going inward is allowing information to come in. The circles going outward is allowing your expansion of energy going outward, which will help the collective. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you so much.
What a great space.
All of it. Ray, what's up? And then we'll close this up.
Yeah, I would just kind of kick myself if I didn't shout out Klaus's podcast this past week. They talked about remote viewing. It's a pretty fucking awesome episode. I threw it up in the Megatron. Patterns Tell Stories. It's on like pretty much all platforms where you can find podcasts. And I think he name drops Astral a few times, but doesn't mention his handle. So I told him like, oh, you gotta mention people's handles and shit. But
I literally
yeah, so
listened to
it's
every episode. It's been so good.
this
Like if
one's a
I'm,
really fucking good one.
I
Obviously,
love
I'm
like
gonna
it's
say that because I
seriously.
love the topic so much. So
I know I podcast, but and like I'm friends with other podcasters, but seriously, I'd be a fan of that show even if I wasn't. Like Klaus is a wealth of knowledge, and it's such an interesting show. Like, sincerely mean that. I've really enjoyed it.
What's crazy too is he was describing the submission, and I was like, I know exactly which one he's talking about, which one he did it on. So, that was cool too. Definitely appreciate the shout out, and just to share it and for it to be going on for 50 weeks. I think the first week there was like probably 20 people who tried the remote viewing and sent in their submissions, and so for the last, month or so, or last couple weeks, for it to be a couple hundred people to send in their submissions has been pretty cool to see the growth. So I appreciate everybody who's participated, man. Tom, did you
Astral,
want to say
are
anything?
you
Yeah.
gonna keep? I'm sorry, I have to know. Are you gonna keep doing the spaces after you hit the year mark? You're not like
I'm
ending it at a
planning
year,
on it.
right?
Like
Oh,
I
okay,
don't
good. Just
like
checking.
yeah, I
No
actually wanted
reason to
to do
stop,
another
right?
I wanted to do another space, another day of the week, weekly, to do like a CE5 or a heist one actually. So it
That'd be pretty
wasn't
cool.
yeah, so like a weekly one for that and the remote viewing. But I think yeah, I don't have any plans. Like my schedule's pretty flexible where I could keep doing it, and I think it would be cool to see one of the things that I want to do, and I talked about earlier, was just find a way to like judge it, or for people to actually keep track officially, or for a way for like somebody else to come on and like judge a couple submissions of people who are actually like trying it out and trying it. I think it would be cool to like integrate a way for people to keep track of like, you know, some way to see their success rate, or you know, hit rate.
That'd be really cool. Imagine creating an app for that. Like, there's
Well,
an
I
idea,
mean,
right?
I actually was messing with ChatGPT earlier this week of just coming up, you know, with just like a judging, you know, to take the submission to judge, to have a judge be able to select based off of, you know, so you look at somebody's submission of their drawing of what they drew, and then you
Right.
get it to select 4 photos. So there's 4 photos on the screen, one of which is the actual target. So if you look at the photo and then you say, okay, this is the target, and then it's either a hit or a miss. So it would just be a AI that could generate 3 random photos along with the actual target, and then somebody would be a judge that wouldn't know anything about it, and be able to, you know, kind of go through people's submissions and judge whether or not, you know, they think that it's a hit or a miss. So
Dude, we could find somebody that could like, or they're, you know, they're familiar with creating like API. Like, I've been messing with plugins this entire night after Jared sent us what he sent us earlier. And dude, let me tell you something. This stuff is out of control. How
well,
powerful it
you know
is.
what? And even I've been talking with somebody who's developing a UFO sightings app. So
Right.
like a
Yep.
reporting app. So you know, it's like a competitor for Enigma or something. Like I'm talking
Love it.
with Enigma too, but it's even, you know, developing or using new type of tools to be able to report it. But it doesn't have to be like this whole like people, individuals are able and skilled enough to be able to build some of this stuff. So, you know, getting with the community members and kind of networking, I think would be a lot helpful.
Definitely. And I look forward to like seeing what ends up coming out of it. Like, I wish I was a programmer. Like, I know certain things, and
Right.
but I can't. There's I have no right to call myself any of that. But I do have ideas. You know what I mean? And that's how those types of things end up coming to fruition. But that's pretty cool stuff, man. Like, I can't wait to see what comes of that, whether it's Enigma Labs or otherwise. Like, I think not too long from now, we're definitely gonna have some apps pop up that a lot of us in the community are gonna end up using. Like, it's just like right on the horizon.
I think it's going to be community driven. A lot of the stuff we've talked
Yep.
about, you know, like the top down or grassroots, I
Oh,
think that
easily.
will come up in the next couple of years. A lot of the stuff that's going to be actually used by the community is going to be community developed and driven, from the people within, instead of, you know, like the Arrow website. I just
Ugh.
don't think that it's going to be adapted. You know, I think that a lot more so grassroots movement of podcasts and need to know of
Right.
getting the reach out there and the effect in terms of that, as opposed to a regular website that's taken 12 months to create or some shit, you know.
You know, and again, it's leaving it to people like us. You know, we don't work in government, so technically we probably have a lot more time on our hands. So it's probably better that it's us because we could, you know, actually put a lot more time and effort into it. Whereas a governmental office like that, it's like there's funding, people have to get paid. Like, it's so complex, and it ends up getting compartmentalized. It's like, yeah, how about, yeah, just let Twitter do it. Twitter/X, we'll do it. We'll handle it. And I guarantee you it would come out great if we were in charge of that and everybody put their heads together. We could create something brilliant. I'm convinced.
Well, I think too, nowadays it feels like Twitter and is a crowdsource in itself
Right?
for people posting. So it's like, oh, I have this video. Let me post it on Twitter to not only find if it's legit or not, or what people know about it, but to weed out if it, you know, like the Mick,
100%.
to let Mick West go at it, and to let all these other people go at it, you know, to be like, okay, let me run it through the ringer. If it gets by UFO Twitter, it's good.
Exactly. And if it passes UFO Twitter and Reddit, you have a winner. Like, that's how you know you have a winner. It's like Metabunk has no answers. Perfect. That's how the world works now, man. Honestly. And I think in a lot of ways we're better off because of it. Obviously there's issues there, but
Well, I
like
think
20 years ago you couldn't.
It feels like journalists. That's, you know, people talk about Ross Cohart in what he shares, but I feel like there's an aspect of it to, like, there's a mental decision that happens that he's probably like, should I share it and let the truth come out, or, you know, and like risk some people you know, going after my credibility, or should I like try not share it at all and see if it's legit in the end? So now
Right.
people are using Twitter to kind of vet whether or not a piece of evidence, instead of like vetting it beforehand and then releasing
Mhm.
it on social
Yeah.
media.
Well, I have an interesting thing I can say to that. When Ty and I had interviewed Don Schmidt, who's like, I mean, he might be like the world's foremost expert on Roswell at this point. I mean, that guy knows his stuff. He's written tons of books about it. What he had said was, you know, if you go out in the desert, go out to like where you know the alleged crash site was, and you find a piece of metal, he's like, don't start writing articles about it and posting like, oh hey, we found a piece of metal out in Roswell that could be from an alien craft. He's like, go test it first and then talk about it. Like there's that particular aspect of this whole
Yeah,
thing
don't
where,
the
you know,
hype
people get too
shit.
excited. Right. It's like I get the excitement. I really, really do. But if it turns out to not be what you thought it was, it's very damaging to one's credibility when it shouldn't be in a lot of ways. But it's just like you gotta watch your step. You know what I mean? You gotta just be very careful about how you go about that type of thing. Just based on the way people react.
No doubt. And even just with people that are working on projects personally, it's tough not to like talk about it when you're working on it.
Dude, I
You know, like
know.
on a personal level of the when you start working on a project that you're really excited about,
The Grays
even though it's
video
not
was like,
finished.
oh, it's going to be out by Thursday. And then it ended up being like Tuesday. And I was like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. Like, when I know it's done, then I'll be like, it's done. I'll just be like, hey, working on this. This is what's next. When it's done, I'll say it's done. You just get too amped up over it. No more dates. No more dates on any of that. Not happening. Not doing it anymore.
Well, go ahead and plug what you're working on next, dude. Thanks again for co-hosting, and
I
I'll sign
appreciate
off
it,
after a
man.
couple minutes
Got a
if
couple
anybody else wants to
things
jump in. Yeah.
in the ringer. So I'll say a lot of you know that I parted ways from Total Disclosure. I really appreciate the time that I had with Ty and what we put together. Just there's some other things that have popped up that I would really like the chance to go do. I'm going to be sort of co-hosting with Digby on his podcast. It's being put together, and we're going to be launching pretty soon, and it's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be your average podcast because we're going to have segments. It's going to be almost more like a TV show, but it's just kind of like a podcast TV show hybrid. But we have some really, really cool guests, like right from the gate, which is really cool. I'm going to be relaunching my Podcast Zero, very soon. But like I said, I'm not going to say when until it's ready. And the person I want to who I want to be my first guest is actually in here. But and besides that, as far as videos, like long form, like digging deep, I'm doing kind of like this shorter form video about why I think the secret keepers are so nervous about the information getting out, and like speculating on what they could actually be hiding that they don't want us to know about, like what could actually be maybe, you know, damaging to society and whatnot. But then after that, I'm doing kind of like what I did with the Greys, but I'm gonna try to do something like that about the Nordics, which is in and slash tall whites essentially. It's difficult because they look like us, so it's like I have to pull out information that really stands out because they look like humans. So it's like it's not as easy as being like, oh, this person had an experience and they saw a being that had, large black almond shaped eyes. It's like you saw a person. So it's like what occurred that sets it apart from any other time that you saw a person, just a regular human being. So it's definitely gonna be kind of challenging, but I'm looking forward to it. And the stuff I have planned after that, I'm not gonna talk about yet, but I'm really, really excited for the stuff that comes after that. Actually, you guys will see. It's gonna be cool.
Dude, that's sick. And appreciate Tom co-hosting, Shane
Of course, man.
as well. Everybody coming through for the space. I'm gonna keep it going for every Thursday, so I'll post up for the remote viewing, the submission. We'll keep it going. I'll probably end up doing something pretty cool and special for the actual year anniversary. That was my goal when I first started it, was to be like, I'll do it for a year. Didn't really realistically think anything about it until probably like the 20th week, until I was like, all right, let's see how long this can go. So thanks everybody who's actually come back and submitted and kept track of it. I think that's really going to be cool to look back and see people who have been keeping track of their submissions. And I tried to post a lot of the better submissions, not only from tonight but historically, like from the last 50 weeks, some of the good ones. And I'll probably go back this week and just to see some of the cool ones and some of the better submissions, and just to share it with everybody. So stay tuned. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. So
Astral,
thanks,
before you
everybody.
go, man, I actually just want to say that if it weren't for your RV spaces, dude, I would not be where I am. Like, I have these spaces to thank for the fact that I have an audience now, that I've made all these friends and connections. So thank you, man. Like, you've been such a huge positive influence on like my life, and I am like forever in your debt, dude. Seriously, like this Thursday night space situation is literally the backbone of like how all of this started for me, like in UFO Twitter. And I have you to thank for that, man. It means a lot to me.
That's awesome to hear, bro. That's really one of the reasons, and really the main reason why I do it, is just the community, and being able to talk and discuss this has been really cool to discover. And Twitter Spaces, I think, right now is the best way for us to interact with each other. So I'm looking forward to it, man. And if how this ends up, thanks everybody for coming by. It's been an absolute great night, great space, great discussion. Have a great night, everybody. Later, guys.
Later.